All right, how are we doing today? Uh, it's been a long one, you know? See, I just got home, take off the sunglasses, take off the hat. Like, no, leave on the hat. Let's take the hair down out of it. I like hats, all right? I like this hat quite a bit. So, yeah, how are we doing today? It's it's been a good one overall. I mean, I'm a little bit worn out from the way that work has gone. The the vehicle I have to drive around in isn't the best. Let me go ahead and do this. And that should be the thing. Yeah. So I have been contacted by a subscriber of the channel, and they wanted to discuss some things with me. Uh, Go ahead and send the message. Jump onto some Destiny. And I will undeafen the server. So uh, if they join in here very shortly, then we should be good to go. Minimize that. Pull this up here. That's not what I need to do. I actually need to go to the tower and talk to Zavala. But yeah, we're going to be talking about quite a few things. Pretty much everything that's listed in the title and a few other topics if we can get to them. We're going to discuss the March for Medicare for All. We're going to discuss. There we go. We're going to discuss the People's Party, the movement for the People's Party. We're going to discuss Red-Brownism, the Red-Brown Alliance. Oh, okay. So that is the general vibe of the stream today. So we're gonna, as soon as they are ready, then we'll be all good. I don't have a whole lot to go over myself. I was just gonna play some video games for the most part, but they messaged me about 30 minutes ago and said that they were wanting to talk. So here we are. What do you know? We're having discussions more and more. I'm absolutely willing to discuss things with people. I just don't like the blood sports thing. I don't participate in it, partly because I've never done it, so I'm not good at it. And other people have had a lot more practice than I have in it, so I'm not here to try and make a space for myself in the blood sports arena. Do 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 do.
Uh,
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Are we live?
Yes, yes, we're live right now.
Oh, cool.
Uh, if I could, I'm gonna take a page out of the Vosh book. Could I get a name and pronouns?
My name is my Twitter name is Frog or Froze or you can pronounce whatever you want. And my pronouns are he him.
All right. So you brought up some topics on Twitter to go over. And so I was just gonna let you go ahead and lead, choose one of them, and we can start there.
All right, so I don't really have my thoughts together, so I'm gonna be a little bit and I'm also right now I'm just sending this to everyone, trying to tweet it to people.
I appreciate any and all work done on that end.
So I've been, anti-force the vote since it kind of started. Um, do we want to go through the whole thing? Uh,
Yeah, we can, whatever you wanted to start with. Force the
yeah,
vote. I mean, I'm with you on that. I think force the vote was a terrible idea pushed by people like Jimmy Dore.
right. And it started by people in the DSA, but what Dorr did was he made it a litmus test against progressives.
Well, yeah, because the way I see it is with him having backed Tulsi Gabbard and her having dropped Medicare for all in lieu of a public option, he backed her and made excuses for her. So he has absolutely no right to turn around and then weaponize Medicare for all when Tulsi didn't win against actual progressives in Congress.
Right. He's a hypocrite. He didn't even. I mean, the other week he went on Tucker a day or two before the marches for Medicare for all. He didn't mention them, but he's supposed to be the Medicare for all guy. He's wrapped himself in Medicare for all, which is an issue that he was never super passionate before, and that would be fine. But he's gatekeeping everyone he can about it.
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting. His fans are also doing it. If you look at the comments of some of my most recent like 2 or 3 videos, people are saying that all my opinions are wrong and evil and stuff like that. It's like I support Medicare for all. I just don't support the poorly thought out strategy that they've put forward to try and get it.
Right.
Like, if we actually want Medicare for all, why don't we get more left leaning people who want it in Congress? That way we have actual leverage instead of trying to force like 7 or 8 people in a body of 400 to do something that is not feasible for them to do.
Right. So their plan was to use the speakership vote for Pelosi to vote, not just not vote for her, but to vote against her,
Yeah,
to leverage their vote to get a floor for a Medicare for all vote, a Medicare for all vote on the floor, and then fail that, knowing that it could not pass, and then use that as ammunition to attack people who voted against it.
yeah, they wanted to get a list of individuals who did not vote for it so that they could try and primary them. But the thing is the way Jimmy Dore put it, is he wanted to get a list of the progressives who co-signed that didn't vote yes on it. Jimmy, that's a dumb fuck strategy. All the progressives who co-signed on it are gonna vote yes on it. They're just not buying into your stupid fuck strategy.
To the point where they care more about Medicare for all than the actual people who wrote Medicare for all. It's a ridiculous, because this plan wasn't organized well in advance. This was like put on, like I think Jimmy first proposed it in like November, and it picked up in like December.
Yeah.
And the vote was like a few days before the Capitol riots happened.
Chris Wong, there's an overemphasis on Dora. Dora is the one who hijacked this and has tried to make it into a big deal. And I mean, yes, it has brought attention to Medicare for all, but I think it's done it in a negative way, and that's why people criticize him and his involvement so much. I'm not a bit like I don't have a problem with like Brianna Joy Gray having done stuff for Medicare for all like that or whatever. And I don't think the march in and of itself was a bad move. I think the march was a good idea. It was just poorly implemented because it does show public support for the idea in a more real way than just looking at polling data.
If it were not for Dorr, and if it were not for the movement for a People's Party, I wouldn't have opposed forced to vote.
Yeah,
In fact, there are times when we will need to put force votes onto the floor when we think they will lose for PR, but I don't think we were prepared. I don't think we were organized to do it. I think we have to be strategic. And I think that we need to, if insofar as we engage in electoralism, in parliamentarism, we need to be strategic about it.
Yeah,
Uh,
you,
it, it-
you
we're
can't.
not going to change the system from within. If we are in the system, it's because we're trying to do harm reduction. It's a shield.
Yeah, always focus on harm reduction as a short-term strategy, and also try and have a long-term strategy of radicalization.
Right.
That's the entire fucking point. That's what Lenin talks about. That's what Marx talks about. That's what Bakunin talks about. Literally every theorist I've ever read has mentioned some form of participating in bougie electoralism, in a form of harm reduction, though not in those exact words, to make it to where people can be alive and radicalized more easily. Because under like an authoritarian right government, you won't have that opportunity. They will just kill you.
Lenin wrote a very interesting piece called "Left-Wing Communism and Infantile Disorder,"
Yep.
and it doesn't fit perfectly within the politics of now. It's not as if I represent Leninism, but I feel that what he's talking about, where we shouldn't be afraid to go into bourgeoisie parliaments and then be afraid of being co-opted, because we need to be stronger than them. We need to beat them. We need to be able to resist their influence. And if we can't resist their co-option before the revolution, he felt that it would be even harder after the revolution. He felt the bourgeoisie would be at their strongest at that point.
Yeah, and he's absolutely right. I mean, literally every single time. Because if you look even at the history of the USSR in and of itself, it had those kinds of issues where after the revolution, the people who were the strongest at that particular point in time did have the power. It was Lenin, it was Trotsky, it was Stalin, it was the Central Committee, and it went to shit because the workers didn't actually control a goddamn thing.
That's my understanding. Yeah.
From everything I've ever been able to find. Now, I mean, people will point to their constitution and be like, but their constitution says this. And it's like, yeah, but is there any concrete evidence that that's a thing that they actually did? No. Well, there's a lot of evidence that they did literally the opposite of what they said they would. So,
And anyway, but to get back to so my problem was with Thor, and I kind of opposed him, and I would talk shit to. But then I met someone who was involved in the People's Party, the movement for a People's Party, which Thor promoted, had a town hall about, did a drive to get people to do their email list to sign up for their newsletter, which people felt was harvesting their data. But I can't confirm that.
I mean,
Other
everything
people say
harvests
they
data.
can. Yeah, but and then I met someone from the People's Party who was they said that they were trying to petition Nick Brana, the chairman, the national coordinator. He keeps changing his title of the People's Party, and they were getting like abused from them. They felt that they weren't listening to their concerns, that it was an undemocratic system, that they would just tell people what to do, and there wasn't any really recourse for anything. That at one point the powers that be said it was okay if users used the N word, and a lot of people left because of that.
Hmm.
And there were a lot of things going on, and people formed a petition, and everyone who signed the petition got purged in January. They actually fired half of all their organizers and put out a statement about how these were infiltrators from our political enemies.
What? Like, the People's
Yeah,
Party did this?
yeah, I have the screenshot. It's buried, but it's there. If you go to at MPP petitioners on Twitter, they have a website. You could look at all the receipts they have.
Huh.
Some of these people have gone on. There's Renee Johnson, and she's gone on. Tim Black. She's gone on the Vanguard podcast. She's gone on a few podcasts and talked about it, as well as a few other activists. They've gone on Neil Elkham's podcast, Dirty Left Feet, and I'm trying to get them on Andrea's podcast. Andrea is Andrea Ravensky. She does She does a podcast. Her ad is Andrea Wozniacki.
Okay.
And and a lot of these MPP petitioners, but they were keeping it quiet. They were trying to address it behind the scenes without making a fuss for a while, and eventually they weren't able to. So they came out, and in the fallout of this, a lot of the people involved with MPP, like Ryan Knight, left.
Ryan Knight left the Movement for the People's Party.
Yes, he didn't cite the MPP petitioners, though. In fact, he never really. I don't know if he ever really addressed them. Some people felt that he listened, but I don't know if he's done really enough. But he said he left because, oh well, the MPP wasn't left wing enough,
Of
which is
course. Of course, that's what he said.
which is true actually, because they refused to work with the Green Party because they said the Green Party was too socialist. That's according to Howie Hawkins.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. See, this is news to me for a guy like, I mean, fuck. Jimmy Dore is constantly talking about how people aren't socialist. Him and not Jim, Mike from PA, both. They're not socialist. This is a real socialist answer. Follow Bernie Sanders and do real socialism. Well, the things you list as real socialism aren't fucking socialism. So I do find it a little funny. He would say things like you need to learn how to do real socialism like Bernie Sanders, but oh, the Green Party is too socialist.
According to Nick Brianna and the platform of the People's Party, they're not interested in creating a new third party. They're creating a new big tent party like the Democratic Party that will have right wingers and left wingers.
Of course, yeah, because it's the Red Brown Alliance.
It's literally, they literally say it.
Yeah, because they're
And
not smart enough not to say it.
and they're allowing anyone in. So, they allowed a lot of Nazbols and a lot of tankies. They purposely courted them using revolutionary language. But what's interesting about an electoral organization engaging, in revolutionary language, it's contradictory. It's a grift because you're not going to affect revolutionary change through a third party that doesn't even admit that it's a third party. That it's not even signed up to the FCC to be able to field candidates or engage in fundraising for candidates.
So, okay, so it has literally no legitimacy at all as a party.
It's not a party; it's a movement for a party.
Well, if you want to do a movement for a party, it's actually just as easy to do a thing that's MPP is a capitalist organization, so it's bad branding for Ryan Knight, who's supposed to be an ultra-socialist. Yeah, and I mean, that is something I do find funny, is like, literally everything that he says is essentially, oh, I don't like this person, they're not socialist enough.
Right.
That's just his line. You're not a socialist. You're not a real socialist. The DSA, which is full of fucking Marxist-Leninists, isn't... I mean, I agree when he says that at this point, but when he said it initially, they weren't full of the tankies.
There's criticism that could be levied to the DSA, the Democratic Socialists of America, but I don't think it comes from Ryan Knight. I don't think it comes from the MPP.
No. No, which is why
I like
the,
anarchist criticism of the DSA.
Yeah, I mean, I consider myself pretty much an anarcho-syndicalist, and more kind of in the medium term, but I would prefer, like, just orthodox anarchism in the long term.
Right.
But, yeah, no, I can't have Ryan Knight be the person coming out making huge criticisms of the DSA and saying that they're not socialist enough, and everybody that he disagrees with isn't socialist. I mean, he called Vosh not a socialist. He said Hassan isn't a socialist. He's pretty much said anybody he doesn't like isn't a socialist.
Right, and they're gatekeeping, but they have like no skin in the game. They've barely been in it.
Well, yeah, and I mean, Ryan Knight himself was literally like back in the height of the 2020 election was a big fucking, what was it, Klobuchar? Like, was going for Klobuchar, and then started to move towards Warren, and then stayed hard with Warren until the end of the election, and like right before the end of the election, and then boom, Bernie Sanders. I'm now a full socialist. I'm gonna change my Twitter handle to Proud Socialist. I'm just gonna go absolutely ham on this idea.
Right.
That felt like a huge grift to me, and especially with the uh, what do you call it, the Patreon for his podcast, which was like, you're a tier one, seize the means of production, comrade, for $15 a month, and it's like, Jesus, you're starting at 15 a month, dude.
You mean there's still going to be wage slavery in your system? I thought the whole point was to skip over all this.
Yeah, but no, he's. I mean, I don't mind him making money on his thing, but when you come out after like within 2 months of you becoming a socialist, and you suddenly have tier lists for your Patreon starting at $15, seize the means of production, comrade. The top one was like $85 a month. And it's like, okay, that is huge. That is a huge money
Imagine
grab.
the goal to say this is how much money that I'm gonna make. And how much does he make in total?
I don't know. I haven't bothered to check back in. I
I
heard
don't
about
think
it.
it's public.
I don't know if it is actually. Shit, my income's public. I'm pretty open about that shit. Most
That's cool.
people, I mean, most people who do this kind of stuff should. Everybody who does this should be public about their income. Every
Right.
single person who does YouTube streams, Twitch, whatever. And since I'm not even able to be monetized because my numbers are way too low, you can tell that I'm not making anything off of this. The great thing
It's
about
a
having small
labor of
numbers.
love.
Yes, that's literally what I tell people who try and come into my comments, and they make fun of me for not having any viewers on some of my videos and stuff. I'm just like, yeah, I do it because I like it. I would still do this even if literally nobody watched. It's just fun. That's all it is.
So the MPP fell off, and hasn't really been out there. It hasn't been a force for anything in a few months now. Uh, you know, uh, our revolution, Orange County, disassociated from them, as did several other branches, places across the country, in light of the coming public of the MPP petitioners, who they are still lied about and smeared to this day, and they feel that they're not being given their fair shake.
Uh, the and I've actually I had a conversation with somebody from my revolution that actually just dissociated from them, and I'm now curious as to why, because I think it's around the same time that our revolution and People's Party thing just stopped associating with each other, and I'm curious as to if that was why. Because if he's caught up in the Jimmy Dore thing, I feel really bad. It's my job right now to keep my viewers off of that. There's no good to be had there.
The People's Party was even putting out pamphlets. It's like, what to do for homework? You can work with outside organizations. Which ones are good? Well, look for ones that don't associate with the Democratic Party.
Yeah, and that's another thing with Jimmy Dore and his grift and everything. Because I
That's
feel
all
like
it is.
he just attacks Democrats. When is the last time he attacked like major Republicans?
Right, and that's what we mean by red-brown alliance. It's more of it's a political, I don't want to say belief, but sort of affiliation where you're going out of your way to defend people who were like rioters on January 6th, or MAGA people, working class, whatever,
Max
and then
Blumenthal.
and then you hate liberals, and the focus of your politics is in aiding liberals and people who aren't left enough, and it's not interesting. And it's, like people say, oh well, it's more interesting than people the left. No, it's not. It's more interesting. See, the focus of your ire should be your biggest enemies. With, I
Huh?
mean, are the squad our allies? I think so.
I
I
do,
think that for AOC, I'm critically supportive of her.
but that's the difference. See, he is following the be hardest on your biggest enemies, because to him the right isn't his enemy; they are his biggest allies.
Right.
So he's following that principle, but claiming to be a leftist while rejecting leftists.
I don't even think that there's a lot of people on the right Like as if the purpose was to build a real coalition with the right wing. It's not going to amount in a lot of numbers, and I think these people know that, and I think they're just doing it to build a right wing audience for their podcast.
Yeah, because it gets more money that way. But
Because
they
because
hope.
AOC has the most recognition on the right.
Yeah, I mean, she has a lot of recognition on the right. That's part of the reason Jimmy Dore attacks her so much. That, and she won't send him feet pics, and also won't go on to show
Yeah, that's what this is about.
feet pics and won't go on
It's
the show. Yeah, that's exactly what it's
it's
about.
narcissism. It's the
Definite.
same kind of narcissism we criticize Trump for.
Yeah, yeah. That's why he does. I mean, that's why he defends Trump so hard, because he recognizes himself in him.
He cannot be allowed to be a thought leader on the left because he is a charlatan. He is a demagogue. He is bringing us down a path where we're just sabotaging ourselves.
That's his entire job. That's what he's out here to do, like on purpose.
Yes.
And in no way do I believe that he is here to actually try and make the left better. Oh, the tricky section.
Oh, are you playing Destiny 2?
Yeah,
I used to play that. I had it on PS4.
I did too, but my PS4 died. All
Oh,
four
sucks.
of, actually all five of them. I'm not going for number 6.
Is it good? Is it good yet?
They've done a lot to improve it. Yeah. Uh,
Uh,
when was the last time you had played?
um, I stopped after Trials of Osiris and then went back when they after that you went on that big black ship.
Oh, Shadowkeep. Okay, yeah. So
Yeah,
you know about
Shadowkeep.
the weapon changes and stuff. Well, they've been doing some more work and changes and trying to keep it fresh and
I heard they made these really annoying supers
yeah,
that freeze
stasis.
everything.
Yeah,
Oh
stasis. I actually
God.
am supposed to be using them right now for these strikes, and I'm not because I'm very dumb. But oh, so yeah, Red-Brownism. For the audience, Red-Brownism is the idea that communists can work with fascist Nazis and the Nazbol vortex to achieve class liberation by dropping the social issues that they're supposed to be like really hard on.
And I think it's more than just. First of all, I don't even think Red Brown Alliance really describes what we're trying to describe. Because we're not just talking about communists and fascists, and it's not an overt political alliance the way like the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact was, which was a Red Brown
Yeah,
Alliance.
yeah,
But you know, another example is in Crystal Ball's Path to Power, how she describes that the populist left should combine with the populist right in order to how would I put it? In order to combine against the establishment.
yeah. They kind of have different wordings for it at this point, but the general idea is you work with because populist right is just fascist. Let's face it. And so the idea is you work with the populist right to achieve workers' rights, class liberation, because a lot of the people who posture in the fasci side like to push socialist rhetoric, a lot like Hitler did. What's really effective? Talking about the plight of workers. They're the biggest group in the entire country. They're the biggest group in the world. So, I mean, the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact is actually where we got the term for Red-Brown Alliance, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I would say so.
And it's a time-honored tradition with people who follow the Marxist-Leninist ideology, you know.
But it's also these rad libs, these people who they're like barely socialists, but they think that you know they're more interested in working with extreme right wingers than they are with liberals, and I think we have to work with the normies. I think we have to radicalize the normies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, it comes down a lot to, in my opinion, misunderstandings of Lenin's writings. Because Lenin criticized liberals a lot, but he also talked about meeting them and at their levels of radicalization so that you could try and like actually get real work done.
Right.
But they just ignore this constantly. And they're like, oh, well, you're a liberal, so you're not ever going to be worth it to me. How are they not? Like, explain, please.
Yeah, and I watched the discussion the other day. I need to read it about Marx and the Third Internationale. Not the, or it was the second or the third.
Yeah, the second and third international.
And it talked about how he was negotiating with a lot of people, and he was trying, come in between. There was a wide spectrum of leftist thought with some very reactionary people. They had like these reactionary trade unionists, and they had people that were to the left of Lenin. I mean, to the left of Marx, and
Yeah.
and he kind of took positions in the middle and tried to get people to combine themselves.
Yeah, because he was pretty big on synthesis, honestly. Like, Marx liked the idea of taking the thesis and the antithesis and combining them into the synthesis, so that you would have a ideal solution that was, because democracy. You want to try and make compromises with people to make them happier, so long as they don't compromise on your values to a great degree.
Right.
But no, again, people just don't understand this. I I don't know if it's deliberate or if people are just not intelligent enough to at this point anymore, or if they just willfully ignore what logical chains are. But I've never seen anything in Lenin's writing that, or Marx's writing, or literally any leftist theorist, outside of some very niche ones, that says you should never work or compromise with liberals.
Lenin talked about, the need, sometimes you need to take strategic retreats. By the way, you should put a riff down
I
somewhere.
probably should. I never do.
I know your teammates will appreciate you for it.
Okay.
Talked about, is it cowardice if we're engaging in strategic retreat? No, so that we could attack later. And he criticized people that they described themselves as left communists for feeling that way.
I mean, sometimes the thing is you're not going to be able to win what you want, such as with the force the vote strategy to get the hold up the speakership. That was never going to be a thing, ever. There was literally no chance that was ever going to happen.
I thought David Shirota's idea was interesting to just change the asks.
Yeah, I mean, you could change the asks. They could hold up the infrastructure bill. There, like other things like that.
Well, now they can't because this
well,
was
they
for the
can't now.
speakership vote.
Well,
Oh,
I'm
they're
saying
holding it up in a different way.
yeah, like
But
force the
we
vote
can
as
talk
a
about that later.
concept is a
But
different thing.
he
But
also
yeah,
talked about negotiating, getting our enemies like Richie Neal out of committee assignments, like the Ways and Means Committee, which that's who
yeah,
would write the bills and the amendments.
yeah. Committee concessions are a big deal, and that's what.
More
Who
important
was
than the
it that
bill on
Jimmy
the floor
Dore?
is what's in it.
I'm trying to remember who that was on Katie Halper's show. I saw the clip that Jimmy Dore was it Matt Stoley?
Matt Stoller, you mean?
Yeah, he was talking to Jimmy and Brianna and Katie and
Yeah, he's pretty good. Jimmy was too mean to him.
Wachowski. If you don't think getting people who can write legislation that are terrible for writing legislation off of committees is not a material change and is just a symbolic change, then you're a fucking idiot. Getting bad
Well, I mean,
people off
Medicare
of
for all is a
committees.
material change, and so is any progress we could take to get into that direction. We need to strengthen our position so that we
Yes.
do have a majority of people in Congress who support it.
Yeah, I completely agree there. I mean, yeah, this is just material changes come in multiple forms. Getting people off of committees that are bad for progressive movements and getting people who are good for them on there is a material change. It's not symbolic. A
Right.
symbolic change would be like, oh yes, the entire House now says they support Medicare for all, and then they don't do anything to bring it up. That's symbolic.
Right. Because people could still vote for it and know it would fail in the Senate. So it's not even really representative of what they would want.
Yeah. I mean,
It's not even representative of the list that Jimmy Dore wanted to create.
no, Jimmy Dore was really interested in posturing on that one.
So, and we could fight and we can keep fighting.
Yeah, there's always the ability to keep fighting. We are in
Right
no
now,
way locked into any singular strategy, any singular way of moving. Like we have the ability to be fluid in our action.
Right now, we're trying to pass Medicare expansion through the infrastructure bill.
Hmm.
And there are four aspects to Medicare expansion. I don't know them all, but it's, expanding
It you
coverage to dental and vision, increasing the age of, lowering the age of eligibility, um, negotiate. There's a part that allows Medicare to negotiate with pharma providers.
Oh, see, I didn't know about
Yeah,
that
there's
part.
negotiations
I
in it.
I knew
And there's
about
another thing,
lowering the eligibility age to 60, adding vision, dental, and I think hearing into it. I'm not 100% sure on hearing, but I know
vision, dental, hearing. Yeah.
they're all in there. Okay, sweet. So I knew about those. I did not know about negotiating drug prices, which is
And there's
fucking
another thing.
phenomenal.
I just watched a conversation with Pramila Jayapal. Um, and by doing that, people say it's half measures, but that actually makes Medicare cheaper to pass in the future because that's doing some of the legwork earlier on.
Yeah. So let's see. To include in it in his infrastructure pack. Go away. I don't
Did you
care.
hear me?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to look at the bill. Could you repeat that?
Okay. Um, it actually makes Medicare cheaper in the long run because you're doing some of the legwork earlier on.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you're trying to expand Medicare to include more people, and you were to do it like in a 4-year plan to include everybody, it would cost more money because you're trying to do more work all at once. But if you slide in increases to Medicaid expansions to it, then you're going to lower the cost each time you do it.
Right.
Fuck you, New York Times.
And what's interesting is the Medicare legislation, Medicare for all legislation, is incremental. It doesn't just it does not a snap your fingers and everyone has Medicare. That there are stages of implementation, starting with starting with half measures like Medicare for all who want it, people enrolling, and until eventually everyone within I think 3 years gets Medicare.
Yeah, because it was a 4-year rollout plan. I don't know why people thought that if we passed Medicare for all in the way that the bill was written, we would have everybody would be able to just go to the doctor tomorrow. Like that seems to be the way a lot of the Jimmy Dore crowd took that. Oh, what is
What's important is that Medicare for all is the most popular progressive policy. So the fate of every other progressive policy rests on the fate of Medicare for all.
Yeah, so we need to get it through. Although the world kind of rests on some sort of Green New Deal, so we have a really tough spot, I think, where we need to be able to push Medicare for all to try and show that we can get victories done. But we also really, really have to be pushing for renewable energies. Like I did some research recently on nuclear energy, and it turns out that yeah, no, nuclear is ridiculously good.
Nuclear could be very helpful to transition away from fossil fuels.
Oh, that's the fourth part of the Medicare expansion. It had an out of pocket cap.
Okay, out of pocket caps. I can remember that.
Yeah, so it's lowered the eligibility age, improved benefits to include dental, vision, hearing, and an out of pocket cap, and then empower Medicare to negotiate drug prices for all Americans. Sweet. Been trying to find out the entire time, and I had to go to Common Dreams to get that information.
What's
But
the max light level on that guy, by the way?
oh,
What can you do
fuck.
now?
I can get up
1400?
to no, it's 1330. They changed the way that they're doing the increases to where it's not every season you get like 30 points or whatever. I think it's a 5 to 10 point increase with a bit of a different rollout on gear.
Do the little points make a difference?
Every so often they do, but not
Right,
not really. I mean, once you get to the point where you're not below the power level of the thing, then it doesn't matter how much higher you are than it, you will still die.
right. All right, so we've talked about forced to vote, we've talked about Medicare, we've talked about kinds of left theories of change. And I was saying before that, I think that, we need to, if we engage, I think we need to have a foothold in Congress. We need to do our best to resist co-option. The way to do that isn't to just yell
No.
mercilessly to politicians who, and hate them. And
Yeah, there's a lot more that we could be doing. We need to show critical support to, yeah, like the squad, all the progressives in Congress, especially since if you pay attention to actual committees, which obviously Jimmy Dore doesn't, he yelled at people even bringing up committee assignments. But if you actually
right,
pay attention to them in their committees, they're doing some really good fucking work, which is part of the
yeah.
reason I do like to watch some of Brian Tyler Cohen. Even though he is a liberal, he brings up a lot of really good clips of progressives doing their fucking job.
Um, you should link me to that. But I read an article about the strategy of the Progressive Caucus, and it has been proposition, not opposition. Have you ever heard that before?
Sorry, what?
Their strategy in the Progressive Caucus has been proposition, not opposition.
Yeah, I've heard that. I'm not entirely sure how well
They
that
are
plays.
proposing bills and amendments and policy ideas, and they're not trying to block as much. They're not engaging in a coalition. They're negotiating behind the scenes, and part of what's good about that, it's the progressives who have the good policy. That's because the centrists don't keep helpful progressive policy in their drawers for a rainy day.
Yeah.
They're not inventive enough to do that.
No, although I think one of the things that we have a huge problem with is like when it comes to coming to the negotiating table, like liberals, they come to the negotiating table with their already watered down work and they go, "Here you go, here's our concessions."
Right.
Like progressive Democrats come forward and they go, "Here is what we would like, but we'll make some concessions." And the thing that they bring is usually not like super difficult or far fetched. I think what we really do need right now at this point is somebody truly able to just come up and be super fucking crazy far left. Somebody
We
comes up
need
there and
an
goes,
we need an
"Here is
enforcer.
my proposal," and you slam down free housing for all, decommodification of food, worker co-ops are the mandatory, and you just slap that down and you go, "I'm not compromising on this." You can either
But
work
the
with
ability to do that depends on your coalition.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think if you had just one offsetting like super left person, then you could use them as leverage to go, you can start working with this person who's going to try and literally just go full anarchist with this country, or you can work with the less out there progressives who are pushing for Medicare for all instead of complete abolition of the commodity form.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Like I do feel that we kind of need that, especially since people are like the Republicans will call everybody a communist. If you have a communist come out and go, no, here's a communist proposal, here's another one, here's another one. That has a chance of radicalizing people because I mean Bernie Sanders, all he did is come out and go Medicare for all, Green New Deal, student debt relief, and people. Next thing I know, I'm looking around on like Twitter and stuff, and most people I see are liberals.
Right.
3 4 months later, it's guillotine, eat the rich, defund the police, and I'm just like, holy shit, when did this happen?
Right. So the way they're using leverage now, it's been months, and they haven't been really opposing anything. They let the stimulus bill be watered down. There wasn't any kind of attempt by the Progressive Caucus to hold it up or negotiate for something a little better. But now we're starting to see that with this infrastructure bill, that the Progressive Caucus is threatening that if it's too low, they're not going to vote for it. They have a caucus of like 30 people who are willing to, some people who are progressive, some people who aren't, who are willing to withhold their vote in the House of Representatives if it doesn't have sufficient climate policy.
Yeah, they need to leverage themselves a little bit more. I do. One of the criticisms I can leverage at the squad is I do not think that while they've been doing good work in committees, they haven't been holding hard to what they need to be doing.
Their rhetoric needs work too.
Yeah, but I mean, they've got some leverage that they could be holding in their committees themselves. Part of the reason they needed to be on committees, because if they're in a committee that's important enough that can like pass like legislation onto the floor, they can leverage themselves there. Because the way that I've said this before, and I will hold this until somebody can prove me wrong. I view the House a lot like I view a business in the sense that there's a shitload of people there. The speaker is like the owner of the business. She sets forth the legislation. She has the all the power, or he, and depending on who. But right now it's Pelosi. So Pelosi has all the power. She gets to say what goes up to the floor for a vote. Well, you as an individual, AOC as an individual, doesn't have the ability to just go up to Pelosi and say, no, bring this up to a vote. 4 people don't have that ability. 6 people don't have that ability. 10 people don't have that ability. So yeah, I mean, like you said earlier, we need to build more numbers. Treat it like a union. The
Yeah,
collective
it's not
leverage.
going to take half. It's not like we need to control half of Congress before we start seeing any gains, though.
No, but if we had
Um,
25 people in there that are
Mike
left,
from PA said that if we just need get like a dozen more, we could probably be good. I don't
yeah,
know the math on that though.
that would put us, yeah, probably around 20 people, 20 to 25 people. We would have enough leverage. This is a place where I've never heard Mike say this, but I agree with him there.
It was in a video about the movement for a People's Party from like January, February.
I don't really like Mike from PA, so I don't watch him.
You
But
know,
it,
he has some value, he has some insight, but he's an asshole.
yeah, it's that, and he does have some valuable insight. I can give him that. I mean, I don't like him as a personality. I think we would
Right.
clash way too much. I mean, I can agree with him on some things. Also, his I can't stand him on a debate panel, or individual debates. Like every single time I've heard him debate, I hate to say it, Destiny. Destiny is fucking shitty, but he did kind of manhandle Mike in like all of those debates.
I listened to some of the debates. I listened to them debate about
Oh, except for the AOC is economically illiterate one. Actually, Mike did really well in that.
Mike did do good on that one. I listened to that. I listened to the one where it was about stock buybacks. I thought that was kind of even.
He did better in that one. He was also more measured in that one, and he wasn't the same way he was with, say, Vosh or Hunter Avalone.
And did you see him going after Bo of the sixth column or
Oh
whatever
my
column it
god.
is?
Yeah, Bo of the fifth column. Yeah, that was vicious and brutal. That was not. It was uncalled for a guy
It
who
was
hasn't been
unnecessary.
talking.
You could be like, the people in my Discord are bringing me all these concerns, and I was just, they want me to make like a video, and I don't really know if that's the way. I was wondering if you can maybe talk to me about how you feel about this, or have a conversation with him. Reach out to him. That's what a journalist would do.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what he bitched about Hunter, and so he's like, "Why did you not talk to me before you made that video on me?" And it's like, dude, you did literally the exact same thing to Bo. You did the same thing to Vosh. You did the same thing to Demon Mama. You do the same thing to Destiny. Like,
Right.
I don't like
Yeah, and
Destiny.
he
I
just
don't.
went after Lance from the Surfs.
Oh, come on.
Lance
What?
just made a video responding to it.
Jesus Christ, that's gonna be.
Because Lance just made a very funny YouTube video called Meme Stinny, making fun of Destiny. And Mike's response was like, "Oh, look who was right. You see, I was right about Destiny." And he's like, "Really? You have to respond that way?" Like this
Yeah.
hasn't been he said this hasn't been a thing in months, and that's not why Lance was saying that's not why we're having a beef either.
No, Mike does that too because that Vosh called this one when he had his debate. If you've seen that video, he came out and said the modus operandi of Mike from PA is to stir up shit with larger communities and then benefit by whining about them forever.
Right.
So that is kind of what he does
And
constantly.
let's be clear, Destiny is fucking garbage.
Yeah, no, I shit talk Destiny on Twitter constantly because he's such a bad fucking influencer.
I used to be on his Discord, and like in 2017, and he would never be there, and it was funny because like half the people there hated him.
Yeah,
He
I
actually hates his
he
own
he hates his
community on
whole yeah
Discord.
he hates his whole community. He hates almost everybody. He thinks most
He's
people.
kind of sociopathic.
He has major problems with narcissism and a little bit of a Dunning-Kruger effect, in my opinion. He does put himself more high and mighty than he is. So I find problems with him for that. He's not necessarily bad because he's wrong all the time, because he is a pretty smart dude.
He has some intelligent things to say. He just doesn't have empathy for people, and his politics doesn't come from empathy.
Yeah, he's straight up
He's
said
like
that
and
empathy is detrimental. He's pulled the Ben Shapiro line of empathy is detrimental to policy.
right. And Sam Cedar kind of schooled him.
Yeah, I wanted to watch that from Sam Cedar's point of view, but Destiny's the only one who's uploaded a video that I've been able to find on it.
Oh no, the people commented on it. I've done commentary videos.
Okay. So a lot of the time when it comes to that, I like to watch them just go at it. Although sometimes I will pull up like Demon Mama going over a debate or something because I like Demon Mama.
Right. And I used to be on the Discord back when there was this guy named Irish Laddie who was being a sex pest to some of the people there.
Yeah, that's Vosh.
I know. I knew him. I knew of him back when he was Irish Laddie, and then he
Yeah.
became like this big thing, and we were all kind of sore about that. But he's made some efforts to kind of move past that
Oh,
and
he
not
didn't
really be
address
that
it.
same kind of person.
He didn't address
What?
it very well initially, I think, because I do follow him. I
No.
am a subscriber. He did not address it very well initially.
Rip.
Since then, he has tried to, and he's even
Yeah.
like shown logs where he's tried to reach out to Poppy to apologize and not expect
Yeah.
any acceptance or anything, and she just goes off on him, which he understands. He's like, I'm not gonna like go out of my way to like
Yeah.
make it a big deal. I'm just
Poppy has
showing
a
you that I've
very
tried.
difficult history with men in her life.
I
A
can
lot of
understand. I
abuse.
mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So and that's what he said. He's like, yes, I was creepy. I fucked up. I've tried to apologize to her. I didn't handle it well initially. I had to like reflect for a little while, and then I looked over the logs a little while ago, and yeah, I was pretty fucking creepy and bad. So I mean, it is definitely something to watch, because he has been weird and creepy. But at the same time, like, you give him some benefit of the doubt, especially with it's been 5 years since then, and there haven't been any substantiated allegations against him of being a creeper or a sex pest. Maybe being weird.
I was talking to a trans woman who was telling me her concerns about him, and she felt that, he said that he got into streaming so that Eddie could, talk to trans girls or something. And she said that she felt that was predatory, and that she could never trust him because of that.
He supports the trans community. I've heard him like flirt with people, but
Yeah, it's that he fetishizes.
no, okay, no. See, he jokes a lot, and he does have some edgy humor that does get him in trouble,
Right.
and I can understand that. I laugh at the edgy humor. I'm nowhere near confident enough to be half that edgy. Let's be completely honest. But he's
I don't like that.
and he has toned that down a lot in the past 2 years. But
Yeah.
he still comes out sometimes and is a little edgy. No, like he even came out and did a video where he's like, I'm gonna go over some of my old bad tactics and like
Yeah.
talk about how they are a problem and how I don't stand by them anymore, like the tactical N-word.
I don't think he apologized for that though.
Tactically, I think he did in that video. He said,
No, he didn't. He didn't say I'm sorry. He said it was cringe.
He said it was
didn't
cringe
actually
and he
say-
shouldn't have done it. and he
Right.
recognizes that it was bad. He did not come. I don't think he
He
said the
he
word
came
"I'm
as close
sorry,"
to
but
saying I'm sorry as he can. You know,
yeah.
I
Now
think he could be clearer. I
Vosh,
think he regrets it.
he does regret it, but Vosh has a similar problem to Spitesney, and that is a degree of narcissism, where
Yes.
it's hard for him to admit when he was wrong. Not in a factual sense, because if he's factually wrong, then yeah. But when people criticize him on something like, "Hey, that was racist," he has a hard time like accepting that. Which I get. I mean, I've had hard times accepting stuff like that before. But you have to kind of look past it and apologize.
Right. And litigating Vosh. I'm not the most perfect person either. I've
No,
never been a sex pest, but I'm not like this woke kind of person it's just that a lot of people criticize him for it and cancel him because of that. And I'm kind of in the middle. I see their concerns, but I think that he's not
he's not
as terrible
bad.
as people make him out to be.
No, because a
So
lot of people's opinions of him come from like poorly, just clipped out like 10-second segments or 30-second segments of him saying something edgy in a way that is meant to make usually make fun of a Republican.
right,
Is usually what he's doing. He's making fun of somebody. Uh, imitating their mannerism, which honestly does get him in ass loads of trouble, and he should probably like think about how he's doing that because it does upset some people. His handling of criticisms from the email he got from a black viewer, I think that one was.
you should move before he gets sniped.
They're all concentrated over here, and I am concentrated on rocketing.
I think I'm seeing a delay in the feed. I'm
Yeah,
seeing. I
yeah.
just
There's
saw you guys.
uh, probably about
Sucks.
10, 15 seconds.
Okay. I mean, you don't even have heavy right now. You just respawned. Oh, don't worry about that.
Yep.
Anyway, also another thing, when Vosh was saying how he was talking about you did quote unquote tactical N word and why it's bad because he talked about creating a culture of racism where the more you say it, the more normalized it becomes, and that's not a word that should be normalized.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like he really understood the damage of what was bad with it.
Yeah, he's saying that if you are using that word, that aside from the fact that it's racist, like he does when he's doing descriptions of why something is bad, he tries not to touch on the very obvious features that everybody would agree, such as,
Right.
hey, this was racist, but he tries to focus more on uh, the things that are underlying it, why it will cause harm and could continue to cause harm in the future.
Right.
And he's not exactly wrong. I do think sometimes he needs to go over the just baseline, hey, this is racist. He does it when other people say something that's racist, but it's not super well known why the thing is racist. Is when he usually does that kind of explanation. He's like, hey, this is racist, and here's why it's racist, and this is why the effects it could have are really bad.
Right. I think he could do better, instead of him explaining these things, bringing on more people of color to talk about these things,
Yeah,
centering their voices.
that is a criticism he has gotten, and I do, in a sense, disagree with some of his replies to it, which are I don't take people's word just because of their skin tone. Like, if he can't describe it himself, then he's not doing his job appropriately.
I
So
don't,
he'd
I don't,
rather.
I don't agree with that because
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that either. Now, to be fair, his thing is he's like, I've heard a lot of people say that I need to listen to this black person about black issues, and the thing that they advocate is like not black nationalism, but like black supremacy, where they're like, no, black people need to control America and put white people in chains, and people are telling him to listen to this person because they're black, and he's like, no, I don't put any stock in that. But
yeah,
if they have
that's a
a
bit of a
reasonable
slippery
perspective,
slope.
yeah, if they have a reasonable perspective on things and they're not just going out there, yeah, we need to enslave whitey and stuff, but they're like, hey, I want to talk to you about why this is racist and how you can do better. you should be more than willing to pull them on and talk to them about it. So I do reject this assertion from him.
Right. And so, we have some reasonable criticisms of him. We're not Vosh haters, but
No, I consider myself a pretty big Vosh fan overall, but I mean I can
yeah,
criticize people that I'm a fan of. If I didn't, then I would be a sycophant, not a fan.
you're gonna get sniped though. There, you should put a rift down. Ooh, he's up. He's flying. Oh no, I'm behind you. That I'm like 15 seconds behind. I'm not even gonna look at this. You're distracting me with your gaming. So anyway, so so I'm critical of people on the Jimmy Dore left, and I'm critical of people on my own side too.
Oh yeah, you
And
have
I'm
to be.
critical of myself. I'm not perfect.
No, I'm definitely not. I get shit wrong all the time. So if there's something I say, especially if somebody knows what the fuck they're talking about and they want to if they want to correct me on something, uh, I've misinterpreted something, like I'm totally willing to have them come on and I can explain where I got my idea or my interpretation, and they can explain theirs or whatever. Because yeah, I'm not perfect.
So in about 10 minutes, my friend is going to be debating Ben Burgess.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I helped debate coach her a bit. I'm going to be doing a post debate. So in 10 minutes, I'm going to switch over to that, unless you want to watch it with me.
I might. I do need to take myself a break here in a minute, but
She's debating him on the definition of fascism.
Ben Burgess. It's going to be on Ben Burgess's channel, I'd assume.
I'll link you to it.
Oh, versus. Oh, you're friends with Aaron Green?
Yeah, it's her.
Cool. Okay, I think I actually follow Aaron on Twitter. Not 100% sure if I do or not, but.
Yeah, now I'm spamming it to everyone on Twitter.
All right.
And I'm going to be doing a post debate tomorrow, probably in the afternoon.
Hell yeah. If you, depending on what time, I should be getting off a little bit earlier tomorrow than I did today. But if you want to drop the link into the Discord server, I can take it to my other server that I'll also send you an invite to. But
Okay.
we can drop the links in there, and I can drop it into stream later, like tomorrow, and we can check all that out and go over it.
That'd be great.
I can give some input on it if you were interested as well.
That'd be great, yeah.
All right. Well, hell, it's been a pretty good conversation so far. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on?
I wanted to touch on the march, but I don't think we're gonna have time to go over all that.
Oh, I can just sum up real quickly what my position is. It's one sentence.
Yeah.
Good in theory, bad in execution.
What happened was, I don't know if you know about the extent to which a Boogaloo boy was involved in that.
I didn't.
Oh, interesting, because the whole thing, what happened was, this was a Boogaloo prank with the Matthew Heimbach thing.
Really?
Yeah. So it's not like they were intentionally trying to platform, literally Matthew Heimbach. They weren't they don't even think Matthew Heimbach was involved.
Huh.
But someone whose name was Ethan Ray Steele messaged, that the either the social media person or the Instagram person and a graphic designer person gave them this information with the name and the information, Matt H. Bach, and then they just put it in uncritically without doing any kind of vetting.
Oh God. Okay, well, if later after you do your debate analysis and everything like that, if you want to send over a link with some
I'm not doing the
information on
debate analysis until tomorrow.
Oh, we're watching the debate. But if
Yeah,
you
the
wanted to,
debate. I could send it to you now. I'm looking for it.
okay, hell yeah. But if you wanted to do that, I could go over
I
that
also sent you
individually.
some screens in the Discord.
Yeah, for Ben Burgess's status, I'm actually gonna go ahead and repost those onto Twitter myself. So
Also, Nick Brana recently changed his name, his title. He originally was national coordinator. Now he's national chair.
oh really?
He's such a narcissist. They describe it as the people who used to be in the MPP describe it as a dictatorship.
Fucking hell. Why do people with such big egos have to be the ones who get the most? It's because they have such big egos. They throw themselves out there constantly. That's why.
Yeah, especially when they get support from people like Jimmy Dore and Kyle Kowinski.
Yeah, man.
And then they lie about the extent to which Bernie Sanders. He said, "Oh yeah, I was on the campaign. He was an intern."
Right, or with Jimmy
He
Dore and
lied.
his
He said he was an intern.
Jimmy Dore and his. I've done more for Medicare for all than Bernie has. No, you haven't. Shut the fuck up, dude.
It's so disgusting.
Yeah, it's
You know,
absolutely
he he
horrendous.
he once even said on the show that he's not against capitalism.
Of course he's not. That's why I would say he's not a socialist. He's never advocated for worker control of the means of production, the abolition of the commodity form, or anything like that.
He literally said that we could just we could just reform capitalism and make it work.
No, so he's a fucking statist sock dem. Okay.
He's a liberal.
Yeah.
He's a rad lib.
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose that's true. Well, fuck. He's a rad lib, and apparently because of how many times I get called a shit lib, that's what I am. I stole it. I'm reclaiming it for the channel. It's the new
Well,
term
you
for
know,
the
it
anarchists.
becomes shit libs versus rad libs.
Yeah. I mean, anarchists, the shit libs versus the rad libs, the Nazball vortex.
Yes.
So, I'm
And
glad
and
to
we
have
and we
you on my
never said
side.
a definition of Nazbol. If there's anyone who doesn't know, it's a connection between like national socialist and a Bolshevik. There's no there aren't real Nazi Bolsheviks. It's usually just people who are kind of red brown.
Yeah.
These people who are race reductionists who are for social democratic programs or lean into communism, but then work with fascists and become indistinguishable from them.
Yeah, it's what populism leads you to a lot of the time. So,
Yep.
this is why I'm not a populist.
Third positionism is becoming popular on the internet, and it's concerning.
That's just Strasserite.
You know, the thing about Strasserism, though, is they weren't left wingers. It was sort of, they actually, a modern Strasserite is, I'm back actually, using the language of social democratic programs and workers and stuff.
And
But
pushing for
then everything else is
Nazism.
just Nazi.
Yep. Yeah, that's pretty much what third position. I mean, Eric Stryker calls himself a third positionist. He's a fucking Nazi.
It's a little different from what we're seeing because he's a Nazi kind of leaning into socialist language, whereas people who are on the left and are like pining over right wingers, the way that like liberals pined over John McCain and the reasonable Republican. It's the
Yep.
same thing.
Oh God. Yeah. That's kind of the natural conclusion of that. Honestly, that's where that goes. When you go that left with that same mentality, that's what you end up doing. You have the same mentality as the liberals who did that, but you just push leftist rhetoric. So
Yep.
it's fucking awful. So
I'm gonna hop off now though and get ready, get
right,
myself situated, smoke a bowl, and watch the next stream.
right on. Well, shit, it was great having you on. I hope to have you on more often.
That'd be great.
Anytime. You just let me know.
All right. Have a good day.
You too. Take care. God, that was such a good fucking conversation. That was wonderful. Do you see how productive we can be when we have people coming over here? And Wachowski, if you're still here, I'm sorry for calling you a fucking idiot. But honestly, yeah, if you don't think committee changes are worthwhile, then you are not educated politically enough to make this kind of determination, in my personal opinion. It's okay, you can learn. But I do appreciate all of you tuning in. I will be back very shortly. I'm not cutting the stream. I just need to move around a little bit, and I don't smoke tobacco in my house outside of a blunt. So I'm going to take a quick break, and y'all enjoy this little ditty right here with the one and only Jonathan Mann.
Oh, there he is. Oh no, Sam Cedar, what a fucking nightmare. 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 I always respect people who enter into the arena. You do anything you can to avoid the debate. Come on, man. No idea that you were taking your show off early last time. I had no idea this was going to happen. Oh no, Sam Cedar, what a fucking nightmare. 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 I always respect people who enter into the arena.
Seems that he's gotten some cold feet, so I don't think he's coming.
Why is that?
I would love to ask him myself. He's not even answering anymore.
Oh no, Sam Cedar, what a fucking nightmare. 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 I had no idea this was going to happen. I thought Ethan was a stand-up guy.
Alright, y'all, I'm hyped. Who else wants to come on? Anybody else want to have a conversation? I can drop the Discord link in chat. Anybody else wants to talk? We can get around to it. I wonder. as it sits right now, uh, I think that was literally one of the most productive conversations I've had in a while about exposing poor actors within leftist movements. Oh, geez, they're all in here. Okay, I don't care about machine guns. Oh, we have a very important piece of news right now. Um, it's a commemoration to a musician that I have been following for over a decade at this point. It is Joey Jordison, who passed away at 48. The drummer for Slipknot. So we need to take a moment of silence in commemoration for Joey Jordison. All right, that was roughly a moment. Let's get back to it. I would play Slipknot, but that is copyright music, and I will definitely get my shit nuked if I start playing a bunch of Slipknot on this stream. And I'd like this one to be viewed, you know? Oh god, I'm gonna have to cut some stuff out. I forgot. I was still recording. Oops. Wait, what am I doing in the vault? It's actually, we're gonna go ahead and stop with that. And yeah, Froge. Froge is cool as fuck, y'all. That was literally one of the best things. 48 subscribers. When did that happen? Holy shit, y'all. Thank you. Alright. We didn't really get to talk much about, like, the March for Medicare for All, which was something I was looking forward to discussing, because it's something I have a pretty, well, okay, it's actually a really middling opinion on. Oh. What is this? Oh, fucking hell. Ethan Ray Steele, the troll that infiltrated the Slack channel and fed Heimbach image to the March for Medicare for All graphic designer to post on Instagram, is a boogaloo boy. In one conversation provided to the Daily Beast by a person with access to the channel, March for Medicare for All's graphic designer was contacted by a person with the username Ethan Ray Steele. Steele sent the graphic designer pictures of speakers for the Moonsea March, presumably including Heimbach and Davis, though Steele later deleted his account, wiping his messages. Steele also appeared to request access to March for Medicare for All social media accounts. Against monarchy, against Nazis, against commies. Okay, yeah, no. Shoestring. Magnus isn't trying to build alliances with these forced to vote podcasters and Medicare for All organizers. He's sabotaging them, but the March for Medicare for All leaders are too paranoid, cliquey, and ignorant to realize it. Yep. I wish these people listened when we told them not to interact with Boogs. Not only has Magnus been platformed by forced to vote podcasters at least 6 times this year, Rome personally met with him and his Boogs. Magnus is one of the biggest leaders in the fucking Boog Boys. This is a... Okay. Nazi. Fiorea Isabel? What? What are y'all doing? Having fucking Magnus on? Tired of talking about it and you're tired of hearing about it, here's what in the way to the, like... You know what? We're gonna retweet this because that is based. Calling that out. Uh, is that head? Now I'm very curious. Who the fuck is Candace? Are you talking about Candace Owens? All right. Anyways, what we will be continuing on. You know, what should I do, actually? Come on, mouse. Yeah, that was a fucking good one. All right, everybody. My post-conversation reward. I'm smoking this fucking blunt. Let's get to it. All right, now I'm gonna, because I wasn't really able to pay as much attention to the chat as I'd like to. Let me go ahead and go over this. Chris Wong says there's an emphasis on DOOR, the LA March for Medicare. Okay, so yeah, wait. I addressed these. MPPs, okay. Wait, this one, talking about it might inadvertently be boosting it. Okay, the thing with the March for Medicare for All is I don't actually have a problem with it in practice, as I'd said. The issue I have is that it was poorly organized and apparently was infiltrated by fucking boog boys, so that's wonderful, you know? Ugh. But the March for Medicare for All could have been organized better. It could have, if it wasn't associated with so many toxic people, it probably would have run better too. Am I going to give Jimmy Dore credit for trying to organize a ground movement? Yeah, I actually will. Okay, I will. I'll give him credit for trying to organize a ground movement, even if it was poorly executed. I'll give him the credit. Okay, because again, I'm not a fucking hack. However, Boots, you need to move. Because I don't want to stand right now, so I need to bring my chair over here. There we go. But the way that we could have done, I mean, for one, not associating with the Boog Boys, that's a big one, you know? For two, getting more people, not having it be so closely associated with so many toxic people online. But oh, and also like the target of where it was going to AOC stuff. Why are they always just targeting? So instead of going after AOC and doing marches in front of her office to try and get her to get a, do it for fucking Pelosi. Go to Pelosi's office and march and try and get her to force Medicare for all on the floor. AOC doesn't have the power to bring legislation to a vote. She doesn't. Who does? Who's the one person who can actually do that? Oh, I don't know. The fucking Speaker of the House, maybe? Twitter. Twitter was a blessing and a curse all in one. You get some of the funniest shit, then you get some really dumb shit. But without social media, we wouldn't have the same kind of connections we do. So, when it comes down to it, the fundamental strategies that people like Jimmy Dore use to try and get anything done are piss poor. All right, they don't have good strategies. The best thing I could say about the March for Medicare for All is that it was a ground organizing event, but it didn't have. Let's see, the LA March had like 30 people, and the AOC Bronx March, which is the one that I tuned into, had about 24 people. That's not great. See if you look right here. It's right in here. Actually, it's up here. It's not going to show on the, but I can see it. What could have happened is instead of marching to AOC's thing and then having the LA march and stuff, if because Jimmy Dore's rich as fuck. Like, seriously, Jimmy Dore is rich. If he really wanted to do something about this, he could offer to pay for people's travel to DC or to California to Pelosi's home if they were planning it when they were supposed to be in their district. And then they could have had people go there. Hell, even if you just got the 50 people to do that march, that's 50 people doing a march as opposed to like 24 in one area and 30 in another. "50 people in one area is better than having it split up when it comes to marches and rallies and stuff. If they had gone with this, they probably would have gotten a bigger turnout for one. But you need to target the people who actually have the ability to leverage this. Yeah, AOC said she was going to go in and try and fight. Okay, she hasn't fully lived up to what she said, but there's a difference. I understand the the idea that she's capitulated to Washington. The problem is she's a politician, and so she has to be a little bit more measured with how she approaches things. She can't go out and be the activist right now. I know she said one term, so she's failing in that regard. But at the same end, think about this. Is she more effective as a one-term person who maybe got Medicare for all brought to a House floor vote, but not passed? Or is she more effective radicalizing the public long-term? I don't know about you, but I think a shift in her strategy is absolutely reasonable. That's my personal opinion on it. So, instead of condemning her and calling her a sellout and a shill and a Pelosi neolib establishment, whatever, instead of assuming that she's abandoned working people, why don't we think about why she might be approaching things in a different way? Hey, thanks, Nick. I cannot stand, honestly, the way that people wholeheartedly latch on to the bad strategies just because Jimmy Dore has presented them. I have this problem with other content creators too. Destiny says something, people latch onto it. Mike from PA says something, people latch onto it. Vosh says something, people latch onto it. Doesn't matter if it's correct or not. They'll latch onto it. Now, in the case of like Vosh or Demon Mama, more often than not, I find their strategy is actually probably the better one. But that's personal opinion on that. But I wouldn't latch onto it as if there were no problems with it. You have to analyze everything. Seriously, be a bit skeptical, especially if you're getting all of your information and takes and opinions from a YouTuber. I don't know. There's issues that I see with this mentality. Oh, right, People's Party. Issues I have with that, aside from the ones I talked about in said discussion, the issue I have with the People's Party, on a fundamental level, is it was created because Jimmy Dore said that we needed a third party to coalesce behind to be able to break the duopoly, correct? That is what was said. Subor, are you still here? I need some confirmation from somebody who's actually, because I've seen clips of it, but I mean, fuck it, I don't need your confirmation. I know I'm right. J- yeah, Jimmy Dore created the People's Party to, or at least was instrumental in helping create the People's Party because we needed a third party to coalesce behind. What the fuck is the Green Party? The Green Party is the third party. It is the largest left-leaning third party. Why would you, in an act claiming that you're for unity of lefties behind a third party, not back or push to back the current lefty third party, but make another one? That brings the people who follow you like fucking leeches over to that party. There, you got the Greens. They're here, and then you've got Jimmy and his crowd, and they're like, we need to go support a third party to break the duopoly. And they get right up to it, and then oh, the Green Party's too socialist for us. What the fuck are you talking about? The Green Party is too socialist for the socialists. This is why Ryan Knight disassociated with them. Not that that's actually going to really hurt them. That actually may help them, honestly. Like, what the fuck's been going on? Well, what's been going on is the thing that I've been checking kind of frequently over here. Twitter. Hey, you're an RN? Yo, I'm following you. I'll give you the follow. Yeah, I'm the worst company to work for. Blizzard, hold my beer. This really is a biased assessment of the residential school system. My family ancestors were key founders of the RSS, and it was always the stated goal that the school was established to civilize and under a Roman Catholic moral system. Talk of mass killings and slave labor have been grossly exaggerated. Also, my family should not be made to feel guilt for turning a profit on an enterprise that did so much good for. Oh my fucking god. Oh, I get accused of being FBI or CIA fairly frequently because the people who call me that are just fucking dumb. All right. If anybody else wants to come on and chat, I can drop the Discord link. I am totally available for that. But yeah, I'm really confused as to why anybody would do what the Jimmy Dore fans do. You know what? I'll give it to you. Where is it? I'll give it to you. Anyone who's watching stream right now knows that I already know the answer to what I just put, but you know what? For you, Nick. It's for you. There you go. You get to answer it in the comments the way you wanted. Yeah, I can throw out some contentious takes. Well, what do y'all think about decommodification of food? Like in a more immediate sense. Hey. Where the fuck is, there it is. Notepad. Open. Free food, yay. So. No, that's, no. Average annual income of $7 million. Yeah, we could pay for it. Easy. You decommodify food by making rich people pay for it. That's it. That's all you have to do. It's easy. Super easy. I just got those numbers by quick Google searches. Okay, so this is true. There's going to be a delay on stream and chat, Nick. Do you have the ability and or desire to come and talk about this one? If you do, or if anybody wants to jump in, there's the Discord link to the stream server. Shit, why did I even close this? Ah, but yeah, essentially the way that I want decommodification to work of food is that yeah, it's a taxing thing where you tax and you pay the farmers and you pay grocery store workers to stock shelves, but it's kind of a this one's kind of a command economy bit where when a person goes into the grocery store, everything still gets scanned the way that it does right now. You could remove all the self checkouts or man the self checkouts with people because for this to function, you would definitely need a decent amount of oversight on the actual like people taking food because it's free. So why wouldn't you just go through and scan it so that it goes to the database? So that the database can know how much food is getting taken at certain areas. If items become too popular for people to be just taking all the time, you could, in theory, uh, what do you call it? In theory, you could, uh, can't think of what it's called right now. But in theory, you could have a database that collects the information of where things are, and everything gets sent to where it needs to be, and you can put a limit on items that are becoming too popular in a sense that like limit three per person per customer or whatever. that way people know where things need to be. I have problems with command economies in general, as an overall concept, but not as an individual thing, you know? Like, I can't just hate on them as a limited concept.
When I think about the idea of prosecuting every single person who breached the Capitol, right? Everybody who walked in there, that they, well, when you're protesting I mean, I've been in my life to several protests, you know, where people at some point, you know, sort of burst through police lines, or went in an area where people weren't supposed to go to as kind of a show of defiance. I don't think it's that uncommon. I also don't, I think that certainly, like during the Vietnam War era, I'm not that old, but during the Vietnam War era, when like occupations of buildings were a very common protest tactic, the sort of rifling through offices and stealing stuff and having your picture taken sitting in somebody's chair, that's all pretty standard too. And what I particularly think of when I think about these suggestions about every single person who went into the Capitol, even if all they did was wander around chanting slogans, maybe even incendiary or disgusting slogans, and taking selfies and maybe taking things, that I think what I immediately think of is the Wisconsin protests in 2011, after to try to stop the law to take away collective bargaining rights. And once again, there you had people disruptively, illegally storming, in that case, it's the Capitol building, and I'm very, I have been very disturbed if every single person who did that, even if they didn't do any violence while they were there, just going in, was prosecuted, and I'm generally pretty worried about the idea that that any protest that turns into a riot, or any protest that includes elements of a riot, where some people who are there riot, that gets like a really harsh response. Because if that had been, the prosecutorial approach, I mean, not that lots of people weren't unjustly, arrested and all of that, but I mean that last summer, I think that would have been a disaster if the sort of left-wing, movements that I very much hope will come about, in the future happen. Then I'd be very worried about the precedent there, that even if you yourself don't do anything violent, if you are in a place you're not allowed to be, you've entered a government building illegally, or or other people there have done something violent, you're prosecuted for that. I think that's a dangerous precedent for us to endorse, and this really gets at what, to my mind, is
being prosecuted
is
just
part
for
of why
being
this is important.
there.
Because I already see instances in which talk of right-wing extremists is used to do a lot of things that remind me uncomfortably of the early 2000s war on terror.
Oh my God, Ben, no.
The sort of regular but vague, ominous warnings, the cases like the kidnapping plot against Gretchen Whitmer here in Michigan, where it seems like all but like 6 of the people involved seem to have been informants, which reminds me of all of the uncovered plots, during the first war on terror, that turned out to be like one like lonely mentally ill Muslim guy who was convinced over the course of months, to be involved in a bombing plot. Oh, sorry, you're muted if you were trying to interject. But anyway, so all of that worries me, I think, more than the thing itself does, and I think that to my mind, that's one reason why it's important not to get too swept up in this. And when I hear like Biden saying this is the most important attack on democracy in 150 years, think, well, hold on, what about, first of all, I mean, just as a matter of history, what about all the civil rights workers who were actually killed registering people to vote? I mean, those strike me as more significant attacks on democracy, but that seems like the sort of thing that certainly
God
sounds
damn it,
to
Ben
me
Burgess, no.
like it's gearing up for crackdowns on extremists, and I worry that if that happens, right-wing extremists won't be the only extremists who get cracked down on.
So you do want to come on?
Yeah, no, I agree with you to an extent. I think primarily in the summer there were actually instances of something like that happening where people were getting picked up off the street by unmarked vans with, unmarked officers that were in totally plain clothes, and none of that was really, I don't know, made apparent to anybody there. Like, if you've got that kind of stuff already happening, I don't know. I would ask you to take a look at the context in which we live today. If your concern is with the right to privacy and with the police state and stuff like that and surveillance, I would argue that your goal should be to, I don't know, push for the dismantling of the NSA or something like that, because these agencies already exist, and this kind of stuff that you're talking about has already happened. Everything from the early 2000s, where there were vast overreaches as far as like rights violations and stuff like that. I mean, you look at even the TSA, it still exists today, and it essentially only exists to pat people down, and doesn't really, the numbers don't really support the amount of funding that they get. So, but I don't know. I think the world we live in today is already pretty scary as far as that goes. I think if your argument is that, calling it a coup or calling Trump a fascist or prosecuting these people that, stepped over the line and intruded on the Capitol building, if you think that would equate to a slippery slope that would lead to something like an NSA 2.0 or something like that, I would ask that you kind of show some harm there to support your argument, because I don't see any calculable harm that could come of prosecuting people for, committing crimes that we already prosecute people for. We even, like I said, about the picking people up from the side of the street, like those people were just protesters. They weren't committing any crime. They weren't committing any violence. And these people were just, whoop, all right, gone, see ya. So, I don't know. I think it's the context in which you're trying to make that argument doesn't fit with the world we live in today, after, post 9/11, post security state.
Yeah. By the way, I should say, somebody in the chat, I do not have the chat anymore, brought up something that I see very frequently brought up in these discussions as a sort of treated as a serious piece of evidence about this, which is the noose in the protest, not in the Capitol but outside. But I've never really understood what significance that's being invested with. That seems like a pretty common thing. I mean, there are, like, you can Google guillotine plus protest, and you will find several examples of protests that you and I probably would both support. Where somebody had a guillotine, that's like out as a prop in the
I'll
protest.
bring you on here in a minute.
I think that you
We're going to check out kind of the rhetorical strategies that each of them are using, and we'll go over this a little bit more later. But it seems that Ben, both of them are a little bit stuttery on their delivery, which
as like evidence of intention.
I also am, so I can't really say too much about it.
But I'm what you said. Look, first of all, yes, the NSA should be dismantled. If that's not clear, right? I mean, that's certainly my position. I was horrified by all the post 9/11 security state expansions, the Patriot Act, the indefinite detention, all of that stuff. In fact, I mean, often, that was one of the formative political experiences of my life. Is having, being a sort of Chomsky leftist, during the original war on terror, and oftentimes in these discussions, I'm kind of uncomfortably reminded of that. And I'm not at all saying that you've done this, right? But I mean, just to set the larger context, because very often I think I see people in these discussions treating saying I don't think this is well understood, that this is really a coup or anything like that. I think it's an ugly riot carried out by bad people with bad politics, because they were lied to. But I think that's all it was. That's often registered as sympathy, for the rioters, which reminds me very uncomfortably of being told that. Be that like you were soft on Al Qaeda, if you were against the wars or against the security state expansions. Al Qaeda is also
I I disagree.
extreme right wing, awful, organization that stands for everything that I hate, But I think that having a sense of perspective, they weren't this huge threat to Western civilization they're portrayed as being, is important in that situation. And I think it's important to have a sense of perspective on the Capitol rioters, not having been some huge threat to institutions of regular capitalist democracy. But I guess the last thing I'd say to this about this before throwing it back to you is that this idea that it's already so bad, that we shouldn't worry about setting precedents that could make it even worse, which I think certainly, again, Wisconsin, it's not the case that everybody, who stormed, who was in illegally occupying the Capitol was prosecuted for that. Even, despite, and yeah, I think both are true. There were extremely heavy-handed police state tactics used in some cases, especially by the Department of Homeland Security, another agency that shouldn't exist in Portland. That's true, right? But it is also true that lots of people, had, illegally entered government buildings whatsoever, weren't necessarily prosecuted for that. And this idea that it's already so bad that we shouldn't worry about setting precedents for it being worse or sort of feeding into ideological justifications that can be used for making it worse. The sort of what I would see as an overblown concern about extremists that is going to be used to justify making it worse reminds me a little bit of a different kind of argument that last year I'd often have with a different kind of leftist, which is that I lived in a swing state, and so look, I voted for Bernie Sanders with a song in my heart in the primary. I voted for Joe Biden in the general election with. I didn't literally put a clothespin on my nose, but that was the spirit of it. I did that very unhappily, but I thought that was the necessary thing to do. I don't think Trump's a fascist, but I do think he's a Republican, and Republicans, do dangerous things. They appoint, hardcore union busters to the National Labor Relations Board. They try to deregulate, etc. And oftentimes in arguments with other leftists who didn't share that position, they'd say, look, you're all these things you're saying about Trump. I mean, look how bad Biden is, true, right? And look at how bad things already were before Trump, true. Look at how the idea, it's already so bad that we shouldn't worry about getting worse was always the sort of the structure of that argument. And I never really accepted that. It always seemed like, well, no, I mean, things are extremely bad, but they could absolutely get worse, and we should worry about them getting worse, and so the same way that I didn't want Trump to be reelected, because I thought that, I thought that as bad as things were, they could absolutely get worse if that happened. I'm also worried about sort of propping up the justifications for expansions of the security state, for the idea that that we need like a war on terror on domestic extremists, which has been very much in the air, and if this really is the greatest attack on democracy in 150 years, then that's that would justify like an increased level of state vigilance and
Yes, it would people would want more state vigilance, but I don't think it would be the greatest attack on our democracy. I do think the Capitol 6 riot was more, because, I mean, they literally tried to stop the vote count. Like, the vote certification, I mean. They tried to stop vote counts, they tried to stop vote everything, They tried to stop everything. They tried to stop Joe Biden from being the elected president. So, yeah. Anyways, I'm going to bring somebody on to have a bit of a chat over the decommodification of food. So, let me just go ahead and... Where the hell do I... There we go. Pew, 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 pew. Let me not turn on the camera. Hello. What's going on here? Let's turn you up.
Hello?
Hey, how's it going?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, you're roboting a bit. Let me try to move my phone.
I'm a bit loud.
No, you're roboting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We've been hit by insane storms these last few days, and we're already in the south, so internet is shit right now.
Oh, I completely understand. I live in the state of Oklahoma.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oklahoma, the
Yeah.
worst Ohio.
This like I am known now by both senators and the governor and the mayor of my city because I call and bitch a lot. I make
That is
demands.
honestly That is honestly more based than anything I've done in my life. So good on you. I'm going to not do that because I have severe anxiety.
I have severe anger, and that's the best way I can take it out. Besides, like the therapy sessions, but if I start getting angry, call a fucking senator. Hey, you need to do this, and you need to not do this. Okay?
That is like, it may be the fact that I'm a little high right now, but that honestly sounds like an excellent mental health strategy.
It it works for me right now. I mean, also that, and I play this game, which if I'm not on stream, and sometimes when I am on stream, I yell at. So whatever.
Yeah, I played Destiny 2's cousin that went to Harvard, Borderlands 3.
Yeah. Borderlands.
Uh, Borderlands is an interesting game politically to me because Randy Pitchford is such an ANCAP, and yet all of the Borderlands games are blatantly anti-corporate, if not completely anti-capitalist.
You're right. I didn't think about that theme of the games. I haven't played them in a little while, so it's not something I really paid attention to when I did play the first two.
Borderlands is an interesting study in extremes because that is a blatant theme slash message of the series as a whole, but the vast majority of people don't see it because there's something even more blatant and extreme going on, and that's all the cool guns going up against dudes like Fish Stick.
Hmm. Well,
Like yeah. How to be subtle without actually being subtle is what I think of it. You know.
yeah, Borderlands was definitely an interesting game. I need to go back and play it. I need to get it on PC and play it on stream. I need to finish Cyberpunk
I would.
2077 too.
I am pleased to say that I have not been duped into buying that unfinished piece of garbage. But
Cyberpunk?
also, yeah, Cyberpunk. The way that it released on release day, like, was utterly horrific for the vast majority of consumers.
Yeah, they upgraded it a lot. I didn't buy it until like a couple months ago, and I bought it for $25.
Uh, that seems fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably buy it at that price. It's just I don't have that price laying around right now.
Right, yeah. And it's very graphically heavy. I mean, my PC does handle it, but
Mhm.
it can get rough sometimes.
Yeah, I have an Omen gaming laptop that I use primarily to try to run Fallout New Vegas on.
Oh, damn. Yeah. That'd be a good
Yeah,
game to play too. I just hate the Fallout menu system. I really fucking do.
there are menu upgrades in mods,
Hmm.
but you're gonna want to wait a bit before you start getting into the modding scene for the Fallout games or the Elder Scrolls games because some pretty big shit is going on in the modding scene right now.
Oh, are they getting like in trouble for it?
Oh, no, a interesting case of worker solidarity in a unregulated economy.
Oh, wow, really? What's going on?
So, Nexus Mods is a gigantic website containing mods that are fan made. It's a hosting service, uh, and they contain practically every mod for every game ever made that you can play on a modern system, and some that you can't, that you have to cheat your way to make it work.
Really?
Yes, they are primarily monetized through ads and through premium membership, which gives you access to different features with their mod manager and stuff like that. About as ethical as a capitalist structure can be. Except the thing is, Nexus mods, they don't make any of their own mods. All they do is host those mods that modders make. Recently, Nexus, the site, came up with an idea to sell access to mod packs. Normally, you have to create a mod load order for your game. You have to individually pick out each and every single mod and their placement in their file directory and all that. It's a very tedious process, but it's what you get if you want to customize your game to insane levels, especially with the Bethesda games specifically.
Okay.
And mod packs take all that busy work and make it one file that you load into your system.
Huh.
So you're downloading hundreds of mods at a time in a single mod pack, and you can get multiple mod packs. It's a really, really convenient and excellent idea, and I commend them for coming up with it for their site. The problem is you have to pay to access those mods through their premium membership. They are selling people repackaged mods that are available for free without compensating any of the people who worked on those mods.
Whoa, really?
And they recently have changed the rules on the website and have prevented mod authors from deleting their work off the site.
Seriously?
This means Yeah, like, yeah. And that means that these maniacal fucks can literally bring in people and say, hey, we want to show off your art to the world. And since we're one of the biggest places that has this type of audience and one of the biggest places that has this service, uh, you'll follow most of our reasonable rules, and everything goes back and forth for a few years, and a genuine community has been made in this space, all about creating stories, creating art, creating great experiences, and giving it away for free to anyone who wants to look at it. And now these assholes are taking that and putting it behind a glass window and saying $200 or whatever the price is.
So they're trying to monetize people's
Look,
free work that they're doing as an open source kind of project, and so they're doing like a strike thing.
they're trying to monetize this, and this attempt at monetization would not allow the actual workers, the actual modding community, to get paid. Like, you don't get a royalty if someone downloads a mod pack that has your mods in it. That wasn't included at all. This was not discussed with the community at all. It was just dropped on us like 2-3 weeks ago, and we are seeing a mass exodus of modders right now to Discord chats, to Reddit, to adult websites, because they have fairly lax moderation for the most part.
Yep.
We're seeing a mass exodus from this website, and we have gotten zero communication from Nexus that I am aware of. Absolutely none. They have gone radio silent, and I'm just waiting for some alt-right dipshit to say that the SJWs canceled modding or some shit. Because, like, really, a ridiculously stupid business decision is what canceled them. But I'm expecting fuckery, as usual.
Well, conservatives in general are a little bit dumb and susceptible to conspiracism. No, I didn't.
Yeah, there are a few. There are a few conspiracy theories that I'm 100% behind. Like, yes, I agree with this 100%, but it's usually the really obvious ones, you know?
Yeah, I mean, okay, so there's some that I've thought about, like the JFK one. I've seen JFK's assassination one. I've seen some pretty interesting theories on that.
You want to hear my headcanon for why JFK was assassinated?
Does that have to do with the IMF?
It actually has to do with the mafia.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
Which is basically the same as the IMF. But
yep, fair.
Basically, the Kennedy family had been involved in the Irish mob and other organized crimes syndicates around those lines. They even had some presence in the Jewish mob, if I'm remembering correctly. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on any of this. I'm high right now. Anyway, so the CIA was starting to experiment with drug exportation from South America at that point to produce money. It wasn't quite the Iran-Contra levels of bullshit, but the similar groundwork was being laid. Kennedy basically wanted to take as much focus off of drug crime as possible and he was far more in favor of rehabilitative methods of treating drug crime. And he tried for a while to get that push through. And here's the thing. We know the CIA had contacts with the Italian mob. We know that the Italian mob and the Irish mob really did not like each other. We know that the CIA was trying to get drugs pushed into America and make it an illegal thing. We know that they were trying to do that. Kennedy taking his eyes off of drug punishment and onto rehabilitation would have probably bankrupted the CIA for several years.
Probably. Well, they probably would have done some reappropriations on shit after a little while when they realized what was happening, but changing your appropriations tactics is only so good.
Yeah, and also Kennedy was a bit of a drug fiend himself, so he might have had some not so altruistic motives for that. It really brings this thing to I like your words, Magic Man.
Yeah, I think he smoked weed. Maybe he did some mushrooms. Maybe coke.
Yeah.
You know, I got no problems with
my drug experience. Yeah, my drug experiences have been complicated. Since I was a kid, I was basically surrounded by them. So I tried the harder stuff when I was younger, and I was like, no, this is just my Adderall, but worse.
Yeah, I'm not huge on like hard drugs. Like acid is fine, mushrooms are fine, ecstasy I think in small doses is fine. I don't really like heroin or meth. I've never done meth or heroin, but I don't like the concept of them really.
The thing about drugs in our culture, and how our culture specifically views drugs, is certain drugs, regardless of their chemical nature, chemical compounds that make them up, are reported different. Like, the difference between soft and crack cocaine is there is no difference when you smoke, when you snort. They have no differing effects whatsoever in all that. Crack is viewed as dirty. It's viewed as lower class. It's viewed as black because there's a heavily
that's
racist
why they did the crack cocaine distinction.
problem in. Yes, it's crack is viewed so much worse, and that influences the drug itself in terms of its production. Drugs that are viewed as poorer for you, like worse for you, often degrade in quality as that reputation increases.
Yeah.
And it's because the supplies to make higher quality drugs are more expensive. And if you're selling trash, who cares what you put in it?
Yeah, that's true.
This also leads to a massive problem of drug safety when moving from area to area. What a dose that might get you pretty buzzed and having a good time in one part of the country will absolutely kill you in the next part. And it's because these are all homebrew recipes that
a lot of them are like cartel shit. Really.
Chemistry kid came up with it. Yeah. And, the cartels trade mostly in marijuana, less so today, heroin, and they do have a pretty big stake in the fentanyl game, but it's not their primary focus. And also, of course, cocaine.
Yeah, cocaine,
but
fentanyl, not so much crack. That is mostly homemade. Meth, that's the big one. That's like the homemade shake
crack,
and bake
yeah.
shit.
Well, methamphetamine is one of the easiest drugs in the world to make, as long as you've got some acetaminophen and some phosphorus, and et cetera, you know.
Yeah.
But we've all seen Breaking Bad. We all know how it's made, folks. America's homegrown, grass-fed, all-natural methamphetamines. Made in small batch, made by hand in Grandma's bathtub, the way God intended.
Of course, it's Timothy's 32:14. Smoke the meth made in Grandma's backyard by hand.
I've been reading a bit too much of verse SNOOPP DOGG 420. I tried to make a Snoop Dogg is God joke there, and I failed miserably because I am a little bit stoned. Also, I'm really tired, and I don't want to be tired because I want to enjoy my evening while I still have it because I have to get up absurdly early in the morning.
Yeah, I've been waking up at 5. The videos I've been putting out on here that are coming out at like 9:30 are because I woke up at 5, did editing, and then threw them up, scheduled them. That's the only fucking reason.
Nice.
But since my cousin wakes up at 5,
right. Yeah, I wake up at about 5:30 because I got to get to work at 7, and I need about an hour to wake the fuck up before I'm able to safely drive.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be to work at 7:45, so that's actually the time frame I have is wake up at 5, get ready for work, still have to cut down the video, edit it, make my stinger and stuff, throw that together, and then have it scheduled and upload to upload before I have to leave at like 7:15 in the morning.
Yeah. I mean, hey, if you get big out of nowhere, like fucking like Voss shouts you out and has you on stream or some shit, I will learn how to edit so you can pay me to edit your videos.
Shit, hell yeah! Artwork and everything, editing. That's the thing. I need an intro animated, honestly, because the thing that is my intro is something that I did. I cut out a bit of like my favorite little instrumental part out of a song from my band and use that with a little slideshow feature from some art that I drew with my mouse, because
Yeah.
I don't draw with my mouse like ever, so I was proud of it. That's pretty much what all my thumbnails are.
Nice.
And
Yeah,
shit.
mouse. Like I do all my art on my phone because, well, I used to do it because it had a stylus, but the fucking stylus broke. So everything you've been seeing from my page has been done with my fingers on my fucking phone, and that's why shit takes longer.
Fucking really, though? Jeez, that's so good.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you were using, like, a Cintiq or something. You know?
Nah, bro, no, I can't afford a Cintiq. What the fuck?
Yeah, family or something. Pitch together if they knew you,
Oh, that's really fucking funny because I'm playing Borderlands 3 on the TV that my boyfriend's brother gave us because he had to ship out to Japan.
Oh, shit.
And it's fucking gigantic because that guy knew how to spend his money. but I'm playing on like a 10-year-old Xbox.
You know, that's fair. I just got sniped in the fucking face.
The miss. Get wrecked, noob. But like the difference in technology and what
Again.
What technology I have in my house is fucking ridiculous.
I
understand. You didn't get me, you bitch.
But so you said you missed out on the explanation I had for decommodification of food.
Yeah, I missed out on that, but I did watch the bit before you were reacting to the Ben Burgess video. I think you were watching.
Yeah, it's a live stream. Froze.
Was it Ben Burgess?
Yeah, Froze Foibles is actually was actually the one who Ben Burgess is talking to his friend.
Right.
So Aaron is a friend of Froze.
Also, Ben, that's a fucking ridiculous. Yeah, Ben's ideas on the fucking Six are fucking ridiculous. You need to squash fascism with whatever tools you have.
Fascist coup. Yes, it was an attempt at a fascist coup. It was unsuccessful.
It was a beer hall push. It was a beer hall push.
Yeah. Well, it was a test. They were seeing what they could get away with. That's part of the reason that they are cracking down this hard on it, because they're like, no, we know what this leads to.
Yeah. The sane ones, at least. There are still a few fuckers who hold way too much power who are like, no, it was a good thing. We need a fucking coup. Jesus Christ.
It's like, no, it wasn't a good thing. It didn't actually show anything. They were underprepared. What do you think would happen if they got wind of a leftist mob that was going to rush the Capitol? Do you think they would have waited to send in the National Guard? They would fucking carpet bomb.
They would have fucking nuked the entire place.
They would just well, they couldn't nuke it because of the senators and stuff, but they would carpet bomb where the leftists started gathering away from the building. They would just carpet bomb that. They don't give a fuck about the monuments. They'd be like a terrorist plot was happening over there, and we had to drone strike the target.
Of course not.
That's all that would happen.
Well, now, America first in the world for drone striking their own population.
The most based infidel shit lib. I love it.
Oh my god.
Oh, oh man.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Do you know what's fucking hilarious to me? But my mother, it is an insane, conservative, bigoted, horrible person. But she's also one of the most insane conspiracy theorists I've ever met in my entire life.
That tracks.
Like, holy shit. One of her theories that she repeated to me... Huh? I'm sorry, did you say something?
Oh, I was just saying...
it might just be the Wi-Fi.
Nazis tend to be conspiracy theorists, and they're pretty big bigots, so, you know, I mean, this tracks to me.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm fairly certain that she would literally wear a white hood if she could get away with it. But one of her conspiracy theories is that the reason why Obama was increasing his drone striking program was so that it would be normalized when he drone striked the South to kill all the Republicans and institute himself as the new emperor.
Oh my god. This is phenomenal. I love this. I
know!
I love this. Okay, your mother sounds like a delightful person to have on stream and talk to. This would be one of the funniest conversations I would ever have in my entire fucking life. Oh, I need to talk to somebody with that level of delusion. I have to at some point because I've learned not to get frustrated with it. They will never be able to accept anything. So that's a thing.
Do you know what's fucking great?
Everything about this, everything. I am
She's an anti-vaxxer.
of
She's an anti-vaxxer, not just an anti-COVID vaxxer. I am currently not vaccinated because she never got me vaccinated. I've only been vaccinated for COVID.
ooh. And of course, it takes money to go. Actually, I don't know if it costs
Like,
money to go and
yeah,
get
big
vaccinated.
ooh.
Bigly.
It do here. It do here.
Damn, I have no idea because I got vaccinated as a kid because my mom went, you're going to public school. And turns out they force you to be vaccinated before you can
Yeah.
go.
No, my mom pulled me out of public school first grade
Because
and
of that?
homeschooled me until I got into college at 16.
Oh.
She pulled me out of school she pulled me out because, in her words, she didn't want her precious boy poisoned by liberal propaganda.
Oh, so it's that bad. This has been an ongoing thing. This isn't just a more recently developed psychosis.
My mother was willing to vote for Donald Trump in 2011.
He wasn't nearly as out there insane publicly in 2011. And I used insane. I know that.
But she started suggesting that he would. Yeah, like my personal theory is that she's actually a host for an alien of the same species as Donald Trump.
Fuck. So your actual mom is had died
It's the hair.
And,
It's the hair.
And so an alien took over your mother? Like after you were born? Because you don't seem to want to vote for Donald Trump, so that's the only one that would make sense.
It would explain.
It does sound like it would explain something.
No, get this. Before I left college, I was a die-hard ANCAP.
Oh. See, I never went in that direction.
Like,
I
here's
was a bit
the thing.
anti-SJW a while back, but
here's the thing that I think is hilarious, because I think I approached anarcho-capitalism completely differently than 90% of supposed anarcho-capitalists, because most of them are just Nazis who like to smoke weed.
yeah.
But, like, the way I looked at it was more of the state is objectively evil, and we know communism doesn't work because it's been tried all the time. Otherwise, we should try that. So, therefore, the only thing that is left is get rid of the state.
Yes, to the bloodletting.
So, basically, I was just an anarchist who didn't know about anything outside of capitalism.
Yeah, you had the capitalist realist mindset, like you couldn't get rid of capitalism.
Because...
But, like, you couldn't imagine
exactly.
capitalism falling.
And
you could imagine
as soon as I... Oh yeah, fuck that bitch. But as soon as I started watching ContraPoints and Vosh, I watched ContraPoints before I ever watched Vosh.
Yeah,
but they really pulled me over, and like, I had already decided I was not going to vote for Donald Trump in 2016. I was not going to vote for a single damn Republican. I did vote for Gary Johnson, which, cringe, but hey, I was 18.
You know. For jeez, yeah.
And
What was that? Let's see, how old was I?
but I had already been. Well, I think the Wi-Fi is fucking up again. Hello.
Are you there? You good?
Hey, buddy.
Yeah,
I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm just listening.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good. Seems the Wi-Fi fucked up a bit. Anyway, so like, I had already been drifting left, in every aspect other than I didn't think capitalism could be thrown away. So I still called myself an anarcho-capitalist because I still believed in capitalism, but I found myself being more and more disgusted with the community. And then, after watching ContraPoints, I said, fuck it, I guess I'm a lib. And then I watched Vosh, and I said, oh, thank God, no!
Oh, thank God! Yeah, right.
I'm not a lib! I'm not a fucking lib!
See, what's really interesting is I didn't...
Oh, wait, my boyfriend just asked me a question.
Oh, go for it.
Said, thank God I'm not a lib. And then I said, but you're still retarded, though.
God damn it, Alec. Okay. Alec...
It's the lift card joke.
Alec pulled the R word, which he is entitled to, as am I, but God damn it.
You said it, you were happy to not be a lib, and people call libs libtards. So I said the parts.
So, Alec, can I say R slur on your stream? I am autistic.
I'm sorry, hold on. I might need to turn you down just a little bit. I did turn you up initially because I couldn't hear anything. Yeah, I left it at 111%, of course I did. Could you repeat that for me?
Wonderful. Okay, I asked, I said that my boyfriend made a joke, and it had the R slur, as he is entitled to say, as am I. We are two autistic individuals. Can I say R slur on your stream to retell the joke, or are you not comfortable with that?
For the purposes of the joke, yes. I have gotten on to other people for using it, though, so this is kind of a pass for joke retelling purposes.
All right. So, after I said, oh, thank God, I'm not a lib, I'm not a lib, my boyfriend looked at me and said, not a lib, but still a retard. Because, lib-tard.
Yep. Oh, I still find them funny. I just try and discourage the use on stream. Like, I find it a bit, those kinds of, call me ableist, I find that when people get called that funny sometimes, in the right context. Come on. But I do try and...
well, here's the thing that I think a lot of young lefties... that I think a lot of young lefties don't really take into account is that the word problematic doesn't mean ban or straight to jail if you enjoy it or anything like that. Problematic means that there are aspects about this thing that aren't the best. It's not an outright condemnation of said thing. It is a criticism. Yeah. So, are there problematic jokes that use ableism as part of them? Yes. Told in proper contexts, they're still funny, and no one is harmed by them. That's the big important thing that I want to focus on in terms of our criticism. Yes. the harm that is done. Like, we don't need to criticize things that aren't hurting anybody.
Oh, I
We
absolutely
can
agree.
if they're not completely, good, but we don't need to make that the focus of our criticism. Whereas I feel like a lot of lefties in the Twitterverse, usually of the younger variety, like still teenager, they focus primarily on problematic media and inner circle drama as to what they consider is or is not actually problematic and needs to be rectified, needs to be fixed,
Yeah, there is a very hard focus
And
on
I
that.
don't see that as much from older leftists.
Older leftists have the way that
Like,
I've heard it is they have thicker
do
skin, but I think personally, like I've heard the counter argument that holding people to a higher standard so that they don't perpetuate the toxic cycle is also a pretty good thing because they just don't want to have other people go through the same kind of rejections and discriminations that they've gone through.
no, I absolutely agree with that. Sorry for coughing. I tried to
You are all
cover
good.
that.
I cough on stream.
Anyway, no, I absolutely agree with. Yeah, I absolutely. I agree with that argument. Like, media critique from leftist angles is incredibly important, and we need to continue it. What I'm concerned about is the seeming hyperfixation with, I hate to use canceling, rejecting members of your small, young lefty community based off of things they may not be aware of or things that they might disagree with your interpretation of. I see that a lot in the younger Twitter sphere, and I don't think that's the most effective application of critiquing problematic material.
I fucking absolutely agree. I mean, to be fair, I was in a Facebook group of Vosh, or no, I actually got myself admitted into kind of an anti-Vosh Facebook group, and I made a criticism of Jimmy Dore in that group. I didn't mention Vosh at all. There was
Oh no, that's a terrible idea.
I didn't mention him. It was like a Vosh hate group, but they also were shitting on other people in it. Like they were shitting on Dylan Burns and a bunch of people. And I'm just sitting there watching the drama unfold. And somebody said something really dumb that I had to reply to. So I went in and I'm like, this is one of the dumbest fucking things I've ever fucking read in my entire life. And Jimmy Dore has no idea what the fuck he's talking about because they were like quoting him or whatever. And yeah, no, I got dox attempts, I got death threats, I had people who were being super fucking like ableist and body shaming towards me. Like they found my Twitter and took my profile picture from that and tried to use
Odin's
it against
fucking
me.
beard.
And I'm just like, anytime somebody tries to use my profile picture against me, I'm like, okay, I know I'm not the best looking person, and this was when I was at a fucking funeral for my great grandmother. But no, it doesn't. Whatever. People don't give a shit about that. As soon as you say something about Jimmy fucking Dore, it's one of the most brutal fucking communities. People say Vosh's community does this shit and doxes people and blah, 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 blah all the time. And I've never seen evidence of this, and I'm part of Vosh's community. Like, it's not a thing.
No, I was a long time part of Vosh's community. Yeah, I've been a member of Vosh's community for practically since he started, and only because of his kink and pride discourse takes did I actually leave. because not even because I disagreed with him and his framing of things, which I do, but because of the absolutely irresponsible way in which he made the arguments he made and talked about them on Twitter, like this was going to fuck with the heads of a bunch of members of the community that you're taking such a hard stance like this. And then when you get pushback from someone you respect, you immediately fucking walk it back a bit. Yeah, it was.
He pulled the Destiny.
So I'm not really a part of the Vosh community anymore.
See,
yes, he pulled the Destiny.
I follow him still, partly because I think overall he has done way more good than he has harm. In some instances, I agree with like if granted, I am like 98% straight. I can appreciate when there's a pretty dude, but outside of that, like I don't like penis, so
right.
That's just the thing. But when like if I was to go to Pride or whatever, then I personally, if I was just like walking in around a Pride event and I saw people railing each other behind a dumpster, I wouldn't necessarily be like super cool with having kids around to see that. But outside of something like that, I mean, the leather at Pride thing, I know he was talking about like full on kink gimp suit being led around by a dom or whatever. I personally don't give a shit about that. It's just anything that's like blatantly sexual, which is already like frowned upon. And if you want to do something sexual in public, there should be like places you can go where that's allowed, where kids aren't, if it's like actually sexual. Because I have no problem with like responsible public sex.
Like,
and that's just a minor feeling I have. I have no real strong opinion on it.
I like your enthusiasm, Beaks.
Yeah. The way I was, thinking about the whole kink at Pride discourse is that America is one of the few places where this counts as scandalous, where what we actually see at kink at Pride and the examples of years before and is nothing like those extreme examples. It's usually a bunch of gay dudes in leather and women wearing corsets, usually, is what
I mean,
it is in the parade. You rarely see anything more scandalous than a kiss with tongue or something.
I've been to a few different Pride events. I mean, my old roommates are a gay couple. And so I've been to some Pride events with them and some of my other friends. And I've never seen anything that I'm like, kids shouldn't see this, really. Like, especially if they're with a parent or whatever. Like, that's fine. There's literally nothing wrong with anything I've ever seen at a Pride event. Now, definitely some of those examples were extraordinarily over the top.
Exactly.
Like things that do not happen. I've never seen somebody in a gimp suit at a Pride event. And even if there was, I mean, is that really that big of a deal? If somebody's walking around in a dog leash or whatever.
I saw a dude. One time I went to something. I don't remember what the actual event was, but it was close to a fucking car dealership. It was a Ford dealership opening up. And I shit you not, I saw a dude in the parking lot jacking off to the opening of the Ford dealership. And that's the closest thing that people have to a straight Pride parade as far as I'm concerned.
Nice to have you back.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, what the fuck is a straight Pride? Like, why would you be proud of that? It's fucking.
Clearly, it's jacking off in the parking lot of a new Ford dealership. What?
I mean, I worked at a Ford dealership. Never jacked off in the parking lot. Maybe in a Mustang, but
You should try it. Apparently, it's a popular thing for the straights.
no, I
Oh,
prefer eating
Christ.
ass over jerking off in a parking lot. Let's face it. I don't necessarily have the same problem that that individual was having with cars. I think that's just their problem.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were straight. I think they were
Lemon
just.
Demon starts playing. 2 trucks having sex. 2
Yeah,
trucks.
I think he was just into cars. Like that's it. He didn't care about women. He didn't care about men. He cared about cars.
Things got real awkward when he went to see the Cars movie, and it wasn't what he thought it was.
Right. He was sitting there thinking Lightning McQueen and the Porsche lady whose name I forget. Thought that was going to be the entire plot of the movie, was them getting it. He was very confused when there were children there.
I'm sorry to sound like a feminist, but talk about literally objectifying women.
Yeah. Yeah, that one, that would be a bad movie.
I mean, yeah, like you've literally turned this woman character into a car that is known as a sex symbol. Like, you specifically took a woman's character, her entire body, and just made it a literal sex symbol. That's fucking ridiculous. In a fucking kids movie.
To be fair, they would also do it to Lightning McQueen. You would have to.
Here's the thing. I don't want to fuck Lightning McQueen.
I don't want to fuck a car at all. That's just my personal opinion. Like, I don't want to fuck a car. I think
Clip it.
it'd be awful. Oh, the entire time I record all conversations. Yeah, I'm not exactly in.
So you're my FBI agent that I talk to on the phone when no one is around.
No, okay. So this is the weirdest thing. When I was trying to run Twitch is more of a thing, but Twitch is harder to get people to tune into. It just had an easier follower thing, so I could get people to follow. But people don't really tune in. Whenever they did tune in, they would hit the follow button, but
yeah,
they never really did. But I was trying to go over there, and there would be one person constantly
Twitch is
in my
horrible for new follower retention.
It is. But there was one person who was always in my chat, even when I wasn't live. It was the weirdest thing.
Right.
And so I'm just like, and his name was Lurks, or their name was Lurks. I don't know any gender or whatever. Lurx.
Oh my god.
I had no
Lurks?
idea. Yeah, I had no idea who it was. Still don't.
Lurking as in lurking in a fucking
Chat, yes.
You know what lurking is, right?
It's when you just sit in the chat. And you don't actually say
What?
anything, you just watch.
Or sit in a forum, or you just lurk there. So lurks, yeah, okay, clever.
But I'm just like, hey Lurks, how's it going? I know, don't worry, I'm not planning any terrorist attacks, so you can report that to your boss at the FBI. No reply, ever. Ever. I'm just like, God, one of these days I'm gonna get them to say I'm not an FBI agent.
That's infinitely worse.
I just wanted the reaction of, I'm not a fucking FBI agent, but no. Haven't gotten it to this day. Lurk still shows up in my chat sometimes.
But you see, that's the problem. He is an FBI agent. No, Lurks is an FBI agent, but he's not on your case specifically. He's on someone else's and he's watching Twitch on his on the clock when
So
he's
he-
supposed to
he
be
can't
doing
hit-
something else.
He can't admit that he's even there. Oh my god, I am getting absolutely destroyed right now.
Exactly.
Fuck.
And all the time he's wondering. All the time he's just wondering, how the fuck does this Daniel kid know I'm a fucking agent?
You're lurking in my goddamn chat, so I made it a joke. Yeah, that's why. If he actually was, that'd be the one of the funniest things ever.
Sir,
and B,
I am a leftist.
everyone's an FBI agent, okay? Everyone. Anyone who follows my
Exactly.
channel is an
Sir,
FBI
I
agent.
am a leftist. Everyone I have ever met is an FBI agent.
I can't have not met FBI
Vosh,
agents.
FBI. Shoe on head, CIA.
Caleb Maupin, Russian KGB. Probably more accurate than not, honestly.
Facts.
Caleb Maupin's a fucking idiot. BreadTube is literally trying to get me assassinated. No, they're fucking not, you dumbass. Jesus Christ. Who the fuck would want to assassinate you? You're a joke, dude. You're around
I
for the
would say
comedy.
maybe.
I don't know, maybe Infrared would. I'm not sure.
Caleb Maupin is the most bizarre. I actually have some inside knowledge on Caleb Maupin.
Ooh. Do tell.
Would you like to hear some tea on?
Of course.
So, I am unfortunately very good friends with an ML.
Okay.
This ML is a fellow autistic person that I met in college, and we were both ANCAPs, both being torn away from the concept of capitalism. So we became very good friends very quickly.
Right.
And we both were libertarian leftists for a while, but he began drifting more and more authoritarian, and I don't think that his time in the military helped him with that. He only served a few months because they kicked him out for being autistic.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah. Well, anyway, my ML friend has connections to various ML organizations in America, as well as some in Russia.
Oh.
Caleb Maupin is an incredibly effective. He's incredibly effective at handing out pamphlets and doing on-the-ground socialist work. And then he's an utter fucking idiot in literally everything else.
But he supports, like, all the bad
Like,
states. All of them. How does he do? Does he do, like,
I
mutual
know.
aid efforts and shit on the ground?
I know, it's like, he's...
Like, what the fuck?
Yes!
How? How can you...
He is... Yeah, there's literal pictures of him handing out pamphlets and yelling at fucking conservatives, and that I don't know where I could find them, but I was shown them, and my guy, he looked like a fucking Chad.
Is he the guy who
In that
Richard
moment, like,
Spencer?
where
my God.
does all
Did-
this charisma go?
Was he the one who punched
He's
Richard
not-
Spencer? Was he the one who wrote Das
No.
Kapital?
Caleb Maupin didn't.
Oh no, my worldview.
It's like, how can someone be such an effective on-the-ground organizer and activist? And by all accounts that I've read, he's extremely effective on the ground. And still be such an utter fucking moron. Like, I
Because he
don't
has such
understand how. Like,
I,
is he just a people person that hates?
BreadTube. He despises BreadTube. He thinks they're a tool of imperialism.
Ah,
That's his main thing, and so he says the just most off the wall, smooth brain shit that you will ever fucking hear. I don't know. Every time I've ever come across anything Caleb Maupin has ever done, it's been bad. His written work, journalism, videos.
like he's a literal fucking nosball.
Yeah. And then but apparently he's decent at on the ground, you know? So,
Like, what the hell is this modern day Strasserite doing on the fucking ground being effective? This isn't allowed. This doesn't happen.
well, if he's on the ground being effective at advocating for socialism, he's I can't hate as much. I still think he's fucking ridiculous. But I mean, he's an asball. Well, okay,
Here's my solution.
Wait, no, he has.
Here's my solution
with the Jewish question.
Well, yeah, he has. He has. But like the diet pill version.
Yeah.
I think was what I last knew. Anyway, my solution to the Caleb Maupin question, my final solution is that Caleb Maupin is to be walked 3 times a day by a handler. He is allowed to preach about socialism to his heart's content during these 3-hour-long walks a day. He is not allowed access to the internet. He is not allowed access to any form of publishing. He is not allowed access to any form of getting information to the outside world, except for his hour-long walks 3 times a day.
It sounds authoritarian, and I'm very much an anarchist, but god damn it, that is the most effective solution I've ever heard for the Caleb Maupin problem. Fuck. This goes against so many of my values, but for this one individual, the consequences would be so much better. But I'm also a consequentialist. So the consequences would be right.
Utilitarianism overall.
The social utility would be wonderful, and then
consequentialism overall, my friend. Don't.
It is a pragmatic solution, and I really would dislike the authoritarian nature of it.
Damn,
I would have to get behind it on this one. Yeah. With Caleb Maupin, I would get behind this. Who else could we do this to? Oh fuck. Okay, if Caleb Maupin is effective on the ground, who else is effective on the ground that's just dog shit in real life? Shoe on Head? Yes. Okay. I love Shoe on Head because she's funny as fuck to me.
Shoe on Head.
But she has bad political instincts, and I agree with Vosh that they're still better than Mike from PAs. Even though he has done some on the ground stuff, he has some niche knowledge.
Here's my vibe with Shoe on Head. Yeah. Here's my take on Shoe on Head. Get ready for this. Shoe on Head believes the same political things as whoever she wants to fuck at that moment. Now, fortunately for us, she really wants to fuck Vosh. Unfortunately, she also kind of wants to fuck Nazis.
Okay, I've never heard Shoe go with like JQ shit, but she's like a social democrat. She doesn't really share the same views with Vosh. Like he's talked about it quite a bit, and I've heard him talk to Shoe about this stuff. And I mean, apparently, what you just said is the most common thing that she gets told is that she just wants to she just follows the views of whoever she wants to fuck, and she's like, no, I have semi-shifting views based on what I mean, I can have nuanced positions on this stuff. I can believe this portion of this and this portion of this. And until I get shown proper evidence, and then she gets shown proper evidence, and she's like, oh, well, I'm a dumbass, but I'm also still a little bit reactionary. And that's true. I mean, she is a little bit reactionary still. She's got some of that to work through, but overall, I think like she has done a actual positive shift, especially from back in the day.
I didn't realize that that was one of the most common things that was said about you, and I thought I was being original. I apologize for being an asshole about that.
No, I mean, it's just something she's noticed, apparently. Like, it doesn't matter what somebody identifies, like, how they identify, it doesn't matter. They just literally, they could be a dude Nazi, a girl Nazi, a non-binary Nazi, anything. They don't, it doesn't matter. They could be not a Nazi, anything. And they'll, oh, you just want whoever you want to fuck. And I'm just like, is that really how people think about Shu? Does she simp that hard for people? I mean, she does simp for Vosh really hard right now on Twitter, and that one, I don't know, Shu. Be careful. Be careful.
Hey, friend, I gotta log out. I gotta walk my dogs before I have to go to bed.
You are all good. It's been a great conversation. So yeah, you have a great night.
Thank
all right?
you. Thank you for tolerating with my inebriated content. I will have a great night. You too. I hope to come on the stream again.
Oh yeah, for sure. Just let me know when.
All right, we'll do. Good night.
Take care. God, 2 conversations in a row that were productive. You see that. And by productive, I mean that one was good for the laughs, for the content. Because it was a very fun conversation. I had a great time. Yeah, fucking sweet. There we go on that. It is 8:53. I've been streaming for 3 hours. I took a break at 1 hour before I had Frojan, so I've had... Wait, I had Frojan before that. I talked to Frojan for a while. This has been one of the best streams I've ever had, in my opinion. Just in terms of the fun factor and the content. I'm very, very happy with this one. So, I will be back here in a little bit. I've probably got another 40 minutes of streaming in me after this break. So, yeah. All right, we're fucking back, and we can get to it. So, how are we doing? Oh, my bitrate tanked a minute. Oh wait, need something that he just uploaded. Oh, and I completely forgot to mention this. Thank you, Henry, for the subscription. Okay, so I need to go to Twitter to find it. Now, how do you search by liked? Lists? No. Profile? Likes.
I'm a Door fan. I wish you would just discuss and criticize the views more rather than just blatantly dissing him like many do.
Okay, can I open it and...
I'm a Door fan. I wish you would just discuss and criticize the views more rather than just blatantly dissing him like many do. Dude, I don't care, man. I don't care. If you go on fucking Tucker Carlson every goddamn day and you constantly fucking shit on the Democrats and like rarely ever shit on Republicans, like you do every now and then, but like rarely ever shit on the Republicans. It's like, you know, you're just like not a serious person, okay? I'm sorry. Saying that you're like a Jimmy Dore fan should be an automatic self-report in here. Like he is constantly wrong. So frequently. It's so sad. At some point you gotta realize, like,
Hassan, thank you so fucking much. Now you just need to get Kyle in on that, and you need to recognize that Mike from PA is also not great.
maybe it's just about expanding your own personal audience and not really about like a consistent set of values, you know what I mean? And usually I don't even give it the time of day at all. I just basically, I think it's great. I think it's like Jimmy Dore's existence is wonderful because it pushes all the cranks over there. He's like a magnet for all the political cranks. So they leave my community and they go there if they're like psycho cranks. So I don't have to yell about Tulsi Gabbard every goddamn day. You know what I mean? So I usually don't actually talk about Jimmy Dore at all. And I will not. I just wanted to do it this time around. There's a video, I think, what was it? The Canadian dude posted about it. It was the old Jimmy Dore clip. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? I just want to show you that. Stompa, hey Hassan, I'm friends with Connery's Pants. Hey Stompa, I'm friends with Connery's Pants as well. Rational National, yes, this is it. Here, I just want to leave you with some of these incredible words from the fucking shit lip Jimmy Dore, dude.
Funny. Now, my question is, you wouldn't forgive me for going to work for the KKK, but why do we forgive people for going to work for Fox News? Because that is the most that is like not okay. That is so over the top, and that's what I'm saying. Like, there's no disqualification from polite society anymore. Steve Ducey and the other person with him, well, no one's going to go, hey, that racist shit I saw, because they do it every day, and now they're just accepted in mainstream culture, and people work at Fox News and then go work at normal places, and I think that we have to stop that. That's not okay that you can start your career at Fox News or go there in the middle or end up at the end and then go to CBS or go somewhere else. That's not okay, and I think we should shame people who need to make money from racist organizations like Fox News. Funny. Now, my question is, you wouldn't forgive me for going to work for the KKK, but why do we forgive?
Wow, that's so crazy, man. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't forgive Jimmy Dore for working for the KKK, or in his words, worse than the KKK. Now, many people will say, well, his viewpoint is adapted. His viewpoint has changed. Yeah, for the worse, dumbass.
Yeah, for the worse.
Okay, that's the point. Yeah. If his viewpoint changed genuinely, then it changed for the worse. Why is he big mad? That's like saying because you worked at Walmart, you can't work at Target.
What?
Working at Fox News is the same as working at Walmart or Target? Are you fucking dumb?
What a fucking... Yeah. It's the most moronic shit I've ever heard. Thank you, Hassan.
What? Haven't you been on Fox News before? Hell yeah, brother. Yeah, and when I'm on Fox News, I'm not getting wonderful coverage. Let me tell you something. Not everyone's a Foxhead. They just work in the background. That's not what we're talking about, you fucking idiot. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about the fucking key grip. Why did you change the subject to the fucking guy who, you know, sets up the craft services table. You recognize that being a fucking commentator that goes on Fox News and like literally supports Fox News that way and continues the misinformation and the racial agitation that Fox News engages on a daily basis is not nearly as fucked up, or is significantly more fucked up rather, than actually being a fucking background worker there. And
Yep.
that's precisely why, instead of addressing what Jimmy Dore was saying, which he was right here, you fucking were like, well, what about the people that work in the background of Fox News? What about these other people? You're like, fucking idiot, dude. Anyway, this is the last time I'm going to talk about Dummy Dore over here, okay? Hopefully.
Hopefully, but probably not. Well, he's going to talk about you now. As a matter of fact, when the hell did this come out? Today. Is it too soon? This was super fucking pathetic. TYT attacks Medicare for all activists. Biden defends Hunter's money laundering art. What? Look at this. This is literally it. It's just attacking. Ryan Grimm runs from Jimmy Dore interview. No, he just didn't want to fucking deal with your ass. Oh yeah, so somebody left the... I don't know why. What?
So you know that the Young Turks are now, their biggest investors is Jeffrey Katzenberg, right? Who's one of the biggest DNC donors.
Okay. As Kyle Klinsky pointed out, none of their positions or the style of coverage or anything changed when they got these investments. TYT owner? Let's see. Okay, yeah, no, Jenk is the owner, not... And yeah, okay, so you're just using an investment that he got, Los Angeles Most Select.
In this city don't have a house. Hollywood mogul Jeffrey Katzenberg emerges as a figure in LA homelessness debate. Oh, really? I wonder, is he advocating for the homeless? I wonder. As Los Angeles is rocked by humanitarian crisis on its streets, one of the city's richest residents, Hollywood executive Jeffrey Katzenberg, has begun meeting with local officials to offer ideas. I wonder what those ideas are. In recent weeks, Katzenberg has discussed the issue with several members of the Los Angeles City Council, as well as aides to Mayor Eric Garcetti, raising questions about how he might influence homelessness policy and whether he intends to bankroll efforts to get people off the streets. Several of Katzenberg's meetings have taken place during the run-up to the council's recent decision to impose new anti-camping rules. So Jeffrey Katzenberg's meeting with the LA City Council and the mayor's office, and then the next thing you know, they come out with these new rules against homelessness. Isn't that interesting?
He's worth $900 million.
He's worth...
Let me point out two things that have already been not logical consistencies. For one, somebody who invested in TYT once with $20 million isn't the owner, and has, from everything that I've heard from people who work there and previously worked there, nothing changed. Nothing changed about the coverage or Jenks' values, or like he didn't start pushing for semi right wing people compared to what he was pushing for. Like, no. If there's anything, he's been consistent, and he's consistently kind of a fucking lib. But he is a more progressive lib. Secondly, just because Katzenberg was meeting with the council doesn't mean he was advocating for these rules. He could have been, but that isn't a logical connection you can absolutely make. You can infer it, but it's still tenuous. You would need more evidence to substantiate this.
$900 billion.
So your title here is actually defamatory in a way, Jimmy.
Which would allow the city to remove encampments that are near key public facilities such as libraries and homeless shelters once offers of housing have been made. In some meetings, Katzenberg urged city council members to act quickly on enacting limits on where people can sleep, according to two sources with knowledge of those conversations. He wanted to be helpful on homelessness, and then it quickly turned to tents down, said one elected official who met with Katzenberg and asked to remain anonymous in order to speak candidly about the That's because Jeffrey Katzenberg's got a lot of money. He's really powerful. So even elected officials are afraid of him. That's the guy who's running the Young Turks. Katzenberg.
He doesn't run the Young Turks.
Has been power broker in Hollywood for decades. The former chairman of Walt Disney Studios, he co-founded DreamWorks, later selling it to NBC Universal for $3.8 billion. In recent decades, Katzenberg was a top donor and bundler for both Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton's presidential campaigns. He gave heavily to the campaign of President Biden, raising more than $700,000 at just one fundraiser. Adam Conover says, let me get this straight. Billionaire Jeffrey Katzenberg has a one-on-one meeting with L.A. City Council members and demands they criminalize homelessness. Within days, they ram through a bill doing just that.
So there's actual... What? There's no proof that he actually was criminalizing, pushing for criminalization of...
Is the council straight up admitting that they take orders from billionaires?
Yes.
Yes.
That's... Adam, did I miss something in here? In some meetings, Katzenberg urged council members to act quickly on enacting limits on where people can sleep. Okay, that's not good, but that doesn't mean he's trying to, like, get them arrested, depending on where he wanted helpful on homelessness, and then it quickly turned to tents down. Okay, so one person said this. Okay. None of that actually has anything to do with anything. Okay. Yeah, he left establishment MSNBC. He took Katzenberg money, and his views didn't change at all. So why do people go after Cenk for this? This is completely a Katzenberg himself deal. Jesus fucking Christ. Jimmy Dore and his followers are so fucking dumb. There is no value in trying to engage with them because they are very dumb. Which one was this? Was this the Nazi? Oh yeah, it was Radfem who was telling people to go and off themselves. So yeah, that's perfectly fine in my opinion. They were actually a TERF telling a trans person to go off themselves. So I don't feel bad reporting it. Because that's unacceptable. Just so you know. I will do that. God damn. So it's too early for Jimmy Dore to respond to Kyle. Unless he does it out of the thing. Debate review. Oh my god, it's the worst fucking combination. Fresh and Fit, a very misogynistic and toxic podcast, pairing with Tim Pool. God, no. I've covered Fresh and Fit before. Da, 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 da. Wait, what did Jim Jordan say? What's it talked about? Republican Representative Jim Jordan of Ohio said he spoke with President Donald Trump on the day of the Capitol riot, but he wouldn't say what to talk about in a Tuesday interview with Fox. Brett Baer. Jordan discussed the opening of the House Select Committee appointed to investigate. Jordan was previously slated as one of the 5 Republicans to serve on the bipartisan panel by House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, but he was barred by taking part by Speaker Pelosi over concerned about his role pushing the election fraud claims that instigated the violence. One of the key questions that lawmakers on the panel will seek to answer is what specifically Trump did on the day of the riot after delivering his incendiary speech to supporters near the Capitol. Representative Liz Cheney, a Republican on the committee, said on Tuesday that witnesses who can testify about the former president's actions that day will be subpoenaed. In his Fox News appearance, Jordan said for the first time that he had spoken with the president that day, meaning he's a witness who could be called to testify about Trump's actions.
Committee is obviously going to go down a number of different roads about who knew what when, who was talking to coordinators of the protest. Did you talk to the former president that day?
I've talked to the former president umpteen times, thousands. I mean not thousands times, but countless times. I talked to the president. I never talk about what we talk about because I just don't think that's appropriate. Just like I don't talk about what happens in Republican conferences. So I've talked to the president numerous times. I continue to talk to the president since he's left office.
On January 6th, Congressman.
Yes, I mean I've talked to the president. I've talked to the president so many. I can't remember all the days I've talked to him, but I've certainly talked to the president.
Yeah, and on that day can you share any of the insight of what he was thinking about that day?
Brett, the people we need to come testify are the people who can testify to the fundamental questions. Why didn't the United States Capitol, the People's House, have an appropriate security posture?
Because they were worried Trump was going to use it to let the fucking protesters in to kill Congress to stop the election certification process. That's what they were worried about. That's why, literally, you are one of the people who needs to come and be questioned, Mr. Jim Jordan. That and your knowledge of the sexual assault that people faced under your watch as assistant coach on a wrestling team.
that day, and what have we done? Those are the people we need to hear from. Yeah. That's the information and testimony we need to get. That's what we should focus on. But I don't think that Benny Thompson, the chairman of this committee, said everything's on the table until we raise this issue about the Speaker's office is the one who knows what the security posture and why it was the way it was. Once we raise that question, he said, well, everything's on the table.
Oh my God. Ooh.
So, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who incidentally, you may not know this. I didn't quite realize this. She, I think, is the #1 fundraiser in the Republican caucus in the Republic. Did you know that?
Really?
I mean, I think I made that point, and I think I remember you saying that wasn't part of why she was considered valuable to Republicans. But
did you? I ignored that. I completely ignored that. I apologize.
No.
Wow.
Oh, it's fine. It's just.
I apologize because I was actually
one of the
thinking back to that
resentments
moment.
I'll pocket.
Maybe I didn't hear that because I was thinking about like why are they spending attention to her, and then I subsequently saw that. So,
well, she's
you were
kind of.
right.
It's part of what of this is this like AOC dynamic where it's a grassroots fundraising operation. She gets a bunch of donations from the rest of the country based on QAnon support.
That's the embodiment of AOC for the Republican Party. Look at it, folks.
Right.
Matt Gaetz, of course, has been on tour with her, although my understanding is that tour has been a dismal failure. That's why they're back in D.C. She was expending all this money, and the tour was like losing money. It was supposed to bring in money. It didn't work. And they're there with Louis Gohmert. It is really, talk about three peas in a pod. They are out in front of the Department of Justice, and they are doing a anti-January 6th press conference, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Let's play the first clip. Someone very helpful shows up with a whistle and makes things a little bit difficult.
And before we, okay, this is the first clip.
Is this the first or the second clip? Oh, this is the first one. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
The people of this country, the answers to the questions.
We need a break. The left is interrupting the press conference. We need to end it.
Thank you. For those of you that really care about this process, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you just saw here today is, again, the intolerant left. Here, I had to actually, here, I'll give those back now. So the whistle.
RS.
The intolerant left? Yeah, fuck you guys. You're all bad. Fuck them. Don't care. Wow. People just search my shit. Okay. Wow. 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 I'm happy, y'all.
BN. But I do love like the image, the slow pan out, and Louis Gohmert just standing there.
Wait
saying,
a second.
Thank
Hold
you
on. I still have
for
something to say.
as chaos just swarms around him. He's oblivious and.
I blew off lunch for this. Wait a second. Hold on. Everybody, don't go away. God darn it.
I'll need my photo up here.
And the guy who said the left has broken up the press conference is Nick Dyer, Marjorie Taylor Greene's spokesperson, and he's just like a real like red ass guy.
There you go. The left is holding up signs again behind us. They've broken it up. The intolerant left.
I think those people were just on a tour and they were actually allowed. I think the doors were actually open and they just went through it. I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong with what just happened there. I think we should embrace people looking that are civically curious.
What's interesting too
is
the
other clip though. To be fair, because in the other clip, I think we see where they've set up the noose, right, where they're claiming they're going to hang one of them.
Oh boy.
What's the other clip?
Somebody take him away.
The media, you saw what happened here. The left shut us down. They hate free speech. They hate free speech. The left hates free speech. The left
Just ignore it. Ignore it. If you ignore them, they go away. If you ignore them, they go away. Don't speak. Don't speak. Don't speak. That's his entire. Don't speak. I'm just.
Oh, that's so good.
That is.
Just keep asking him.
I
Are you a
wish they could have
pedophile?
gotten.
Are you a pedophile? Are you a pedophile?
I wish they could have gotten out that pedophile question with Marjorie Taylor Greene standing there too, right? Like they're in this impossible situation where they're supposed to be rooting out the pedophiles in government drinking the blood of children under pizzerias in DC, and yet Matt Gaetz is credibly accused of having sex with a minor.
Folks,
Yeah, yep. And where's QAnon? Supporting him because they don't actually give a fuck. What? Okay. Oh, this was from yesterday.
Sergeant,
This is.
this obviously had a deep impact on you, all of you, but it's also had a big impact on your family. You described how when you got home you couldn't even hug your wife because you had chemicals all over you. You wanted to go back. It seems like no sooner had you gotten home, you wanted to go back.
Yes, sir.
I think I read that you said you felt guilty. Did your wife want you to go back?
No.
Why did you go back? And what was your conversation with her about that?
After I took a shower, I spent about 10 minutes hugging her and my son. I told her I gotta get some sleep because I gotta go back to work. And she said, "No, you're not. You hurt." I said, "No, I'm still able to continue to carry out my duties." And by 8 o'clock, I was already on my way back, despite her concerns and for my safety.
Yeah, she's mad at you for that one, I'm sure.
Sense of duty for the country, for the Constitution, at that time was bigger than even my love for my wife and my son. I put that ahead.
Nationalism is a disease.
For me,
fuck that.
It's confounding that some people who have sworn oath, elected officials, including people in the military that I seen at the lower stairs fighting against me, they swore an oath and they're forgetting about that oath. They're not putting the country before the party. And that's what bothers me the most. Because I, as a former soldier, I know what that inherits, that oath. And I was willing, I'm still willing to do that. And you got people right now in front of the Justice Department asking to release some of the very same people to be released, even though we are testifying about the trauma and the agony and everything that happened to us. It's pathetic. And they shouldn't be elected official anymore.
Officer Dunn.
Wow.
You described talking to your fellow black officer about what you went through and experiencing those racial epithets. You asked a question, I think, that I've been haunted by ever since. Is this America? And I'm very interested to know your thoughts on the answer to that question. Is this America what you saw?
Ooh. Real tempting, but nope. We're gonna go over this because fuck, more Jimmy Dore being wrong and dumb. How can I help myself?
I want to turn to someone who's getting
Full
more
screen
attention than
this.
people who are relevant in my mind. Okay. We had Jimmy on this program some time ago, and you know, I like Jimmy. I'm not hugely familiar with his work. I don't know if he's been saying stuff like this all along, but my feeling is, and the reason why this got under my skin so much, is that if you have a platform that allows you to reach 10, 20, 30, 50,000 people, 100,000 people.
You shouldn't be saying shit like
Other people on the left about this is obviously play
this.
No matter who wins this election, if it is Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, progressives are going to have to fight the Democrats and the Republicans. We're going to have to fight the Democrats to get a $15 minimum wage. We're going to have to fight the Democrats if we want less war. We're going to have to fight the Democrats if we want to regulate Wall Street. We're going to have to fight the Democrats if we want to get rid of fracking.
We're going to have to fight the Democrats for all of this? Yes.
We're going to have to fight the Democrats tooth and nail if we want single-payer health care. We're going to have to fight the
pause
Democrats.
it for a second.
Nowhere near as hard as you would have to fight the Republicans, though.
End the day after the election.
At every turn. So this idea that voting for Hillary Clinton will somehow make things better is crazy. We're going to have to fight
Supreme
her.
Court.
Right now, we have a Democratic president right now who is pushing as hard as he can for the TPP. So we're going to have to fight the Democrats on the TPP. Right now, he nominated a corporatist judge.
All right, pause it for 1 second. The vast majority of House members, Democratic House members,
hate the TPP.
Voted against the TPA. There were about, I think, 28 out of the 190 Democratic Congress people who voted in favor of the Fast Track Authority. The majority of Democrats in the Senate also against the TPP. There's every reason to believe right now.
His political instincts haven't gotten any better since then. Jimmy Dore is still a fucking moron. Now I have to know about this.
I recently discovered something startling about myself. It turns out that I'm a racist, sexist, misogynist.
Every year, men spend billions of dollars to look at women with little clothing on.
The civilization born of Judeo-Christian values, ancient Greek philosophy, and the discoveries of the Enlightenment is staring at the abyss, brought there by its own hand.
In 1966, Time magazine ran a cover story asking, "Is God dead?"
We face an existential threat. Life as we know it is on the line.
Racist, sexist, Republican, these words are virtually interchangeable.
You probably
You're
think
right,
your opinion is
based.
better. You probably think you're an individual with unique experiences, thoughts, and ambitions. Well, I hate to break it to you, but according to current leftist orthodoxy, you're wrong.
Democratic socialism. It's not the same as socialism because it's democratic.
I hate clean air and water.
Rape, murder,
It's true though, Michael Knowles does.
war. They all have one thing in common. Men.
You may not realize it, but you are currently funding some dangerous people.
I'm a citizen of Denmark, the Disneyland of socialism.
What's the best way to help poor people escape poverty?
Oh my god. What?
Post-Keynesian economics was recommended by Unlearning Economics, the person who did that, those critical videos of Sean and ContraPoints and stuff. Post-Keynesian economics is a school of economic thought and the origins of general theory, with Keynes' subsequent development to a large point from Mikhail Kalinke, Joan Robinson, Nicholas close to the spirit of Keynes' original work, heterodox approach to economics. I'm pretty sure that a lot of the people... Did I say Kyle Kalinske?
Yes!
Wait, what did I say? Robinson, Davidson, Weintraub. Where did I say Kalinske?
That's the best part about
He's a centrist, by the way.
That's an abhorrent opinion to hold. But you're lost. You're lost. Get over it.
No, that's not what I wanted. Oh my god. Okay, that was fucking amazing. I am so happy about that. It was brilliant. You do have gardener swag, Estrus. Thine gardener swag. Wait, what?
She's clean and not stinky because we bathed her last night. Look at how clean she is. Yeah, all right. Here, wait. I'm gonna play the audio on this. Hold on. I can't show the video, but let me play the audio on this. We bathed. Here, hold on. Listen to her. She hates being bathed. She despises it. Is this really not audible? I guess the mic doesn't pick that up too well. Poor dumb ass baby. I wanna show video. We can. Just I don't want to be accused of like. I worry that we're gonna be like accused of like hurting her. Because people don't realize, like, she just screams. That's not my fault. Okay, fine, I'll show it. But if I get accused of animal abuse for this, I'm getting mad at the rest of you, okay?
Can we, come on. We're being nice. Come on. Please, we're being, Pigeon, please, we're being so nice. Pigeon.
Yeah.
It's warm water. It's hypoallergenic soap. She's not even being held hard.
Pigeon. Pigeon.
Okay. All right. You can stop recording soon.
All right.
Get her out.
I don't know how anyone could consider this animal abuse. Have you been on Twitter?
Right?
You have to bathe them. She just hates. Save me. And of course, you wrap her in a towel, you give her some chicken after, and in 5 minutes, she's completely back to normal. Ow! Don't they bathe themselves? You need to help the hairless cats along a little while. Chicken eats chicken.
Yeah, you do have to help them. It's true. He's a good cat owner.
Lamau, you think Chinese imperialism is worse than U.S. imperialism? Nikki. Not only do I think Chinese imperialism is worse than U.S. imperialism, I'm actually pro U.S. invading China. You know what we're gonna call it? We're gonna call it the U.S. too. You know why? Because the unfettered glory of the eternal American empire. Yeah, clip me. Yeah, that's right. The sun will never set on the American empire. Okay. Soon there will not be 200-something countries on Earth. There will be 200-something states. Okay.
God
and then
damn
there
it.
will be no American imperialism because it'll all be America. That's how we fix it. Stay mad. Die mad. 1 billion views on.
Fuck. Okay. It's been a while, and now I'm just doing some React Andy shit. I had some pretty productive conversations, alright? I've been going for almost 4 hours. It is 9:40. I would like to get some food in my gut, if you know what I mean. I'm a bit hungry. Hungry boy. Very hungry, yes. And, I have to get up and go to work tomorrow. So, you know. The fun shit. So, taking that into account, I hope you all have a wonderful night. Thanks for tuning in. If you liked what you saw, hit that sub. Just fucking smash that fucker. All right. Put your finger through your phone with how hard you hit it, or don't, whichever. But definitely do have a good night. Take care. I will see you all. I will see all of you tomorrow.